Greetings and welcome to you, bravest of citizens. Hello. It is me, Toronto's greatest supervillain and evil genius, this Dr. Terrawat. Hello, everybody. Hold on. There we go. Hi, everybody. So hello and welcome. It is I, your kind and benevolent DM, Dr. Terrawat. We were here again with another game of the B Team. Coming to you live. Wow. We've got...
Want to double check you're doing this faceless on purpose?
Yes.
Okay.
I've always done this faceless.
It's the bro team.
I honestly only vaguely paid attention to the stream in the background.
You've only just noticed now. Yes, I have been doing this without a camera for a while, just because I want people to focus more on what's being said rather than what I'm doing and any faces I could be potentially making. So yeah.
And as Palanthir put it prior, if the A team is like early Avengers, the B team is like the Guardians of the Galaxy.
We bubble back our way to victory.
Yep.
I'm good.
That's a very good way of putting it. All right, so on the top of our order, though, all these wonderful people that I've got with us here, we've got Esteban playing our skeleton hunterman, Talrand.
The interrupting, as it were, today.
That's okay. And we got Raynor playing our black draconian sorcerer.
It's good to be back for you all.
We got Kaldaka Gray playing our kobold cleric named Snick.
Umalat is going down.
We got Quad playing Alloy, our warforged warrior.
I have better armor for this roleplay-focused campaign.
And we've got Palanthir playing Caleb Midstraw, our Air Genasi rogue.
I'll have 2 number 9s, a number 9 lodge, and I'm not going to finish that.
And we've got MB Saurus playing Piffles, our goblin bard.
Hello.
Yee. So, when last we left our intrepid heroes, they had wandered themselves into the this vampiric manor, so to speak.
Sorry, one thing I wanted to check real quick. Is this is Alloy still getting his armor equipped at this point?
Alloy is at this time, I believe. Is he still getting his armor? Like, I don't know if you guys waited for that.
We had to wait for night anyway to enter, so I think...
No,
yes,
I
Alloy
told you
was
guys to go
refitted
ahead.
and came with you guys and met you here during the day, but the chonky jewelry you did leave with the jeweler, and she is in the process of melting that down, but that was paid for.
He is done
okay.
getting paid being tinkered on.
Yep. And yeah, so now here we are.
Sex joke.
As you entered into the large and sort of incense-filled area with a almost like sort of a haze of smoke hanging over the room, as some may remember, a human dressed in a loincloth came bursting out of one of the back rooms, terrified in an attempt to escape, and was killed by a magical flying dagger. Moments later, after an attempt to heal him was made, which failed, a vampire countess came walking out from the back and introduced herself as Lady Tonberry, the proprietor of this establishment. And that's where we left off. Your group finds yourself sort of standing in the middle of this large boudoir with some vampires wearing masks lounging around on red velvet furniture.
Are you the
And that guy's still on the floor, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, yes. To mention, the guy who died on the floor, as he was bleeding out, Lady Tonberry sort of whooshed her hands, and the blood sort of souped up into a long tendril and found itself into a flask that was on a nearby table, and then the flask magically corking itself.
And the guy you said was human?
He was a human guy. who's now
kinda
a
just-
dead human guy on the floor.
I no
Just-
longer have empathy for this individual.
I kind of just nudge the body with the end of my
Quaran
staff.
for a moment.
Yeah, you nudge the body. He's dead. He's dead, yo.
Quaran pointedly ignoring the body, not caring. Miss, are you the proprietress?
She, after she finishes sort of gesturing magically towards the bottle and the little cork finding its way into the top of this large glass decanter, she turns to you, smiles very pleasantly, and says, "Yes. This is our haven amidst the Black City."
Is a haven for all vampires?
Many who find their way into the city often find their way to my establishment, yes.
Have you seen this vampire? Pulls up.
You show her the doodle,
Yes.
the children's doodle. She
Have you
she
seen this boy?
she takes the parchment and looks at it, and a warm smile sort of spreads across her face as she looks it over. This person was a child, yes?
It was last time I checked.
When humans and other species are turned into folks like us, even in their younger or adolescent stages, they tend to age at a bit of a strange marching speed, so it can be difficult to tell who or where she may be. However, we do have ways of managing this. How long ago did you lose this person?
That is an actual question. Doc, how long ago did I lose this person?
When you were killed and then brought into the kingdom, I'm gonna say that might have been 10, 20 years ago.
Was there a gap between the time he died and the time he was resurrected?
He doesn't know.
I was dead for it. I'm not exactly aware of the passage of time at that.
Yes, to say, like, there wasn't. I mean, if you want to know the exact date, like, she can give that to you, and you might have been dead for like a year, maybe two, because the scouts that came to recover the vampire recovered your body instead. So you weren't dead for long.
I do probably have a decent idea how long I was dead.
Yeah.
But
Actually,
I remember,
you weren't dead for terribly
calendar
long.
day.
You weren't dead for terribly long, only because, like I said, the members of the of Autometh, like the scouts that came to retrieve the vampire from your custody, found your corpse instead, and didn't find her. So when you were brought here and resurrected, it wasn't too far off. Yeah.
And I mean, like, is there a unified calendar?
I'm gonna say yeah, just for the sake of ease.
So I'd have a pretty good idea, give or take a few days, when she was last found, when I last knew where she was.
Yeah. Yeah, if you share that information with the like the Lady Tonberry there, then she like nods and looks over the paper, and she sort of twists it to look at the back, looks at the front, turns it sideways, and goes, "Is this all that you have of her?"
Fortunately, beyond that is all I know of what I have of her.
Well, I am not entirely sure, but there are certain forms of magic which practice is only made useful to vampires like myself. I may be able to use this to track her. If, of course, she still is unliving somewhere. Hextech looks from the corks and the cork, looks at the blood and frowns somewhat. Yeah. Acolyte's neck goes and takes a closer look at the bottle's volume to see if he's missing something, and then prods the dead body with his foot a few times. Quiet contemplation. Yeah, looking at the the large sort of crystal decanter that the blood went into, it's just blood. It seems to be put in there.
He's commenting about the volume.
It's more the like. This decanter seems like it should have had there should have been more blood in that body than there is in this decanter.
Oh yes, you would be correct in that.
There isn't much left.
Well, I mean, there wasn't much left, and there isn't a lot of sense in letting him be fully dead, permanently so, I suppose you could say. I mean, we can continue to use him as such, right? And she
Like
sort of gestures behind she sort of gestures to one side, and sort of from one of the side rooms, a gentleman wearing a very nice sort of butler outfit comes out and picks up the body and carries it away. She says, I imagine he will be healed and revived and continue to be a supply of food for folks like us.
Okay, so you do have a system for that. See,
Of course.
that's why I was trying to heal him. I was like, I didn't want it to go to waste.
She chuckles to herself and leans down to you and says, honey, we don't waste here. We've been living in this city for centuries, and we haven't been feeding on any of its citizens. We've got it down to a very particular way of living, don't you worry.
My apologies if it comes across like I was questioning your methods.
No, that's quite all right. I mean, I wouldn't imagine that, no offense, a kobold would understand the breadth or brevity of the lifespan of an undead. It may seem foreign, perhaps even alien to you, and your curiosity is not insulting in that regard.
You've met my traveling companions, right? Everything is alien to me at this point.
Sorry to interrupt, but I just want to apologize if you hear any thunder coming from my microphone.
Is there a storm where you are?
Storms.
Yeah, it's like it's not a bad storm, but the thunder's a bit loud right now.
Effect.
Yeah, that's cool. No worries. But yeah, and as, but yeah, she then takes the parchment again, like sort of examining it, turns to Talron and says, if you would like, you could follow me, please, and excuses herself down one of the hallways.
Tolerant is already following her, like.
Well, everybody else is doing stuff. I'm gonna look around.
Tap, 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 tap.
Tap, 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 tap. So yeah, anybody that goes along is welcome to do so, and she leads down a long series of hallways, eventually finding her way into a larger chamber that is even further below ground than the rest of the manor. There is in the center of the floor, like there's tables along the sides of the walls, but in the center of the room there's sort of a large circular divot that's down, and a series of candles light the edge of it, or rather a series of candles sit at the edge of it. As she enters the room, she sort of gestures with her hands and all of the candles light up, and she walks into the center of the circle.
Real quick, who's going with them and who's staying in the lobby?
I'll
On
go
my
with
way.
them simply because Talrand was the person I was hiding behind.
Okay, anybody else going along?
Because I don't want to be left alone. I am a goblin snack.
Snake's coming along, okay.
I guess Drakiar will come along, just being the general magic aficionado.
Does someone want to stay in the lobby and investigate the lobby in case there's stuff out here?
Yeah, I'll stay up here.
Hmm.
I don't think Ally would think of that, so he's probably also gonna just kind of follow the main group.
Okay.
Mm.
So just Caleb is staying in the lobby?
Actually, I'll stay in the lobby then. I'll stay in the lobby
Okay.
too. Because I wanted to look at all the shiny shit.
As the group
The lobby.
slowly leaves the room from the lobby, you see some of the vampires kind of drift their gaze over to the two of you, and just before Tomberry leaves the room, she sort of leans back and looks to the rest of them and goes, nope, no, and then walks away.
Wait,
And the vampires
wait.
that are in the room are like, meh. vampire, and they just like slump in their seats a little bit and go back to lounging about.
Listen to mother.
Don't tell mother. So,
But mom.
As we're walking, Talrin probably has very little idea of what exactly a vampire entails, and so asks the proprietress, kind of like, so I actually don't know a whole lot of vampires. My ward was sudden and unexpected. What can you tell me of them, if you're welcome?
As she's leading you along, she smiles over her shoulder at you and says, "Not many who come to know us continue to know us without either becoming some kind of meal or joining our ranks. It is interesting to me that you are neither. So...
She did partake of my blood. We were hiding and she was starving.
I can see that your concern for her is definitely warranted, and not without, I'm going to say, merit. Yes. Of all the people that I know, really, the only culture that I'm deeply familiar with would be our culture here. There is not much more beyond that. But if you have a specific question about our people, I may be able to answer.
I only knew the stories of the monsters in the night that drank blood for us. I was not previously as friendly to many of my new kin.
Well, monsters in the night who drink blood, we are, for sure. That is not to be confused. However, as I'm sure you and many of your compatriots can agree, monsters in the night also have dreams, feelings, aspirations, and not all of us are so malicious. As I'm sure as well we've come to realize that the fine upstanding members of the Empire of Light is not always so altruist, or good, or merciful, even.
Considering we're about to go free a camp of slaves from them.
A camp of slaves. Slavery is such tricky business, I've always found. As she leads you into the large ritual room, a large sort of set of doors open up to reveal to you this area that I described that's like a very large stone room deeper underground. There's some tables along the sides that have like books and bowls and different herbs and mixtures and things like that on them. And then in the center, there's a large recessed circle with a series of candles dotting the edges of it. With a gesture of her hand, the candles light up, and she steps into the center of the circle holding the parchment. She kind of examines it again, and then gently she places it on the ground in the center of the circle. And with an almost conductor-like gesture with her right hand, the magical blade that she keeps with her comes unsheathed and floats around, sort of spinning and dancing through the air around her head as she begins to mutter something under her breath, almost like a chanting or an incantation. As she continues, doing the incantation and gesturing with her right hand, the blade sort of drifts around the edges of the room, sort of dipping itself in a series of herbs and mixtures and some oils and things like that, and then it drifts back into her presence. Does anybody want to do an Arcanum?
Sure. Why
Okay.
not?
Whoa, natural 20.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
know so much
Oh, yeah.
magic.
Drakiar has studied this.
Yeah.
In,
So yeah,
Heavily.
no, like you, Drakier, looking at this, you recognize this as a very sophisticated ritual, obviously for tracking of some kind, but there are elements to it that you are not familiar with. There's certainly a vampire flair that's been added to this particular magic. It's been sort of modified and customized in a way to serve a more precise purpose. Once the dagger, sort of coated in different materials, finds its way back into her presence, she holds out her left hand, and the dagger jams its way down through the center of her hand. And in doing so, when the blade comes out the back of her hand, it ignites in flames. Very briefly, and then she reaches over with her right hand, grabbing the hilt and drawing the blade out of her left hand. The wound that's on her hand seems to close almost instantaneously. But the blade continues to burn this unnatural red fire. She leans down towards the parchment that's on the ground, flips the blade so that it's facing downward, and jams it into the center of the parchment. Now, what is strange is that in doing so, the parchment itself, despite the fact that it makes a very loud clang when she jabs it, the parchment remains completely unharmed.
The moment she jabs towards it, you've never seen shock on Talron's face, except his jaw actually drops out of his face.
Just click and falls off.
I let Talrin know that it's not going to be damaged.
I
Magic.
can clearly see that, but jaw drop as soon as steps towards it.
Yeah, and as she continues to sort of struggle almost to hold the blade against the parchment, the unnatural red fire that burns off of the blade swirls and makes its way down and almost saturates into the parchment itself. And then it goes dark. She takes the blade, resheathes it in the back of her corset, and then picks up the parchment, smiles to herself, and walks over to you. As she's holding it out, she turns it over, and on the back, you see a sort of moving map. It's very much like the fucking map that they had in Harry Potter, like the one that sort of moves and the little details and things like that shift about.
I solemnly swear I'm up to no good.
Exactly. Except instead of ink, it looks as though the images that are on the back have been burned into the paper. However, it does continue to shift and move and twist, and the information that it shows you is just her name in the center and a small dot that almost sizzles a little bit where she is standing, wherever that is, and a very loose drawing of topography of where she might be.
Do I recognize this from any maps I may have come across in my studies?
Do me a history check. 10. It does not look familiar to you, no.
I'm going to use my background ability on this. So, do I know where I could go to find a map that matches this?
While this does appear unfamiliar to you, you do know that there are records that exist within the Palace of Falling Leaves that may match up with this. Benjamin Hyde might know the guy you need to talk to.
I make sure to let Talrin know.
Thank you.
And she folds her hands politely in front of herself and smiles and nods at you. She says, I hope that when you find her, that you are able to bring her home to us, and that we are all able to enjoy each other's company.
I came here hoping to find her, and you've done that for me.
Well,
there are many things I can never repay, and this is now one of them.
Unfortunately, this magic that I'm using really is only good for tracking vampires, and it is, as you can see, not entirely precise, but I do hope that it may be able to point you in the right direction.
Is confirmed her unlife?
She is alive, or at least unliving, wherever she is.
Which is a further step than I had before.
I'm happy to help out some of the king's agents, wherever I'm possible. We are, all of us, quite literally, eternally grateful for the sanctuary that he's offered our kind.
I must ask, is there anything I can do to help you? You're welcome.
And she raises her eyebrows and leans back a little bit as she eyes you and goes, perhaps. All I would say is that when you find your friend, your child, that you bring her to us so that we may know her better. Many of our bloodlines were lost in the great purges that the Empire brought about upon the world when they won their great war. It would be nice to see which lineage that she belongs to, if any, and how she may be able to preserve our people. We do not wish to keep her against her will, certainly not, but if you could bring her to us so that we may know her better, we would be very grateful.
That seems quite faithful. Thank you again.
Of course. She offers you a small curtsy.
The magnitude of this is far more than, for me, than you could imagine.
Of course. Well, if there is anything else that you require of us, please do not hesitate to ask, though some of you are more readily welcome than others. Some of you do appear a bit more snackish to some of the people who live here, and of course you will always be welcome, just in the future, perhaps right ahead, so that we may know that you're coming, and it is not quite a surprise for some of our patrons who are lounging in the main area.
Apologies, we only recently learned of your facility.
Yeah, so we do not tend to mingle with the rest of the citizenry as much as some of us may like, but I am glad that you have found us, and I am glad that we were able to help you.
Thank you, and yes.
Yeah, so she leads you back into the main room, where the rest of your party is, and another one of the sort of butler-dressed vampires makes his way politely over to you. He wears like a full face mask that is a pearlescent white, and he bows to your party and then gestures to the front door.
Well, my friends, do we have anything else to do?
Oh,
Or
Tom
should
Barry's
those
here
of you-
now. Yay!
I wanna look around a little.
Um,
I'm just gonna do like a perception.
yeah, roll me a perception, so we'll see if you saw anything while they were all in the room. 10.
That's
So
good for Piff.
it's pretty good for Piff. So looking around the room, you see like the large stone columns and ornate stonework on the statues seems definitely different than a lot of the stonework that you found in the rest of the kingdom.
Oh.
The space that you find here is actually kind of strange, because you do remember the stairs as you came in through the large doors. The stairs went down, and then you found yourself in this large sort of lobby/lounging area. But what, like, you could swear the building wasn't this big on the outside.
Mother.
It does seem quite large and strangely ornate in here. But you really can't put on your put a finger on exactly what, but you do notice that the stonework is a different color than the exterior of the building, that a lot of like the design on the pillars and the statues is different than the rest of the stonework that you saw outside.
Are there any things I can sticky fingers?
No.
You see, there are some ornate silver platters and some crystal goblets that adorn some of the tables. There's a large sort of like polished brass bowl filled with a number of fruits and things, which is strange given the company. But yeah.
I don't want to take anything too big because I don't have a place to hide it. Aww.
No, and there are like 4 vampires in this room looking at you.
This is true. I'm not gonna do it.
So probably a good time to keep your fucking hands to yourself.
Stop trying to be a better thief than Caleb.
It's not my father's so bad at sneaking.
What did you just say?
Okay, all right.
Oh my god, you're so bad at sneaking.
So you guys find your ways back outside and on the street. What do you guys do?
I think this is an appropriate time for us to split up and go to our respective homes tonight. It's kind of late.
Yeah, we gotta kind of head out and go for thing tomorrow.
We have to pick up the rest of the granola from Goober tomorrow.
I mean, we don't have to leave at any specific time. It's just the sooner the better.
Eves.
Also, I'm going to the castle.
Yeah, so as everybody heads home for the night, finding their way to their beds, and the granola will be sort of ready in the morning, Esteban, you find yourself heading back to the palace.
I think Alloy would probably offer to go along with Talran, seeing as he doesn't really have a house of his own.
Yeah, so there's a large amount of not sleeping going on between the two of you, so you both find your way back to the palace itself. Standing outside the palace, you are met by a familiar face as Benjamin Hyde.
I was going to say,
I want to help Talran find this information, but my character needs sleep.
Well, that's fine.
I'm gonna go home.
So yeah,
if he does say that before we part, I say thank you, my friend. I think we shall look this evening, and if we do not find it, I will very much welcome a pair of rested eyes in the morning.
Oh, where are we meeting tomorrow?
Goobers.
We're gonna meet. Okay. Yes.
It's like Drakiar just.
yeah.
Like his face just sours at hearing mention of Goobers, meeting up at Goobers again.
We will meet up outside of Goobers. We will get some granola and we will leave.
Smells like 23 feet in there.
Talran wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Only 23? That's great for a goblin.
Yeah, it's a good smelling store.
I smell good.
It's more Drakiar's kind of afraid the shop's going to blow at any minute.
Oh yeah.
Peter's
A
right next to
couple of times in the past, like,
unprotected candles all over the place.
this is why most of the goblin places now are made out of concrete.
Yeah.
Suspiciously labeled box.
Blow shit up by accident.
Labeled TNT.
Yeah, I got this box full of big Italian candles, Dinamite.
Haven't got around to trying them yet.
The next day, Goober's shop is just in shambles.
They smell like burning.
People really like them, but we never get any return customers for them, so... Anyways, so you guys find yourselves at the sort of foot of the citadel, and Benjamin Hyde greets you on the front steps, sort of coming down. He sees you guys and stops and goes, "Ah, yes! Good to see you all. How are you this evening?"
I mean, it's just me and Ally right now, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Quite good.
Good. We encountered the vampiric population of our fine city.
Oh, yes! You've met some of our more esteemed patrons that we have here within the city walls. I hope everyone is all right within your company.
I am absent. Actually, Benjamin would probably be able to tell that Talrand has been absolutely beaming for you've never seen him look happier right now.
Well, yeah, he's as happy as the skeleton could look. Yeah, he's kind of got like a bit more of a rattle in his step.
He's doing less of the ranger try to blend in nonsense. Head up, as silly of a grin as you can get on a skull.
A little bit of a hop to a step.
Yeah, a little bit of a bounce.
His jaw.
Yeah, a little bit of a bounce in his step.
Yes, it went quite well. We proved my charge is still alive.
Oh.
And have some idea of where she might be. We have, pulls out the piece of paper, a map of her current location. A little bit nondescript, but...
He leans down and looks at it a bit closer and goes, "Ah, you have a blood compass. I see. Well, we can certainly provide you some more information, I imagine. You are here looking for a bit more details as to where this may be."
Yes. My learned friend, our learned friend Drakiar, was kind enough to tell me that you would probably have more information.
That we do. Within the King's archives, there are extensive maps that do cover most of the Empire. We could have a look to see what areas this may fall into, if you would like.
I much appreciate that.
Yes, of course. Come. And he trots his way up the stairs and leads you into the palace, and it's down a different set of corridors than the one that normally leads to the throne room, but the further along that you go in, it's all still this, ornate black marble that makes the floors and the columns and the ceiling all lit by a series of pale blue torches. And eventually he leads you into a massive archive. There are tomes stacked on tomes, there are shelves of books and scrolls and things. And he sort of gestures for you to follow him as he leads you through and down another series of shelves to where a large stone table lies and a series of maps have sort of been laid out. He goes, "Now, these would be the maps of the northeastern region. You can start with those, and I'll go get the northwestern regions of the Empire. Now, of course, remember that not all of these maps are entirely accurate. It has been some centuries since we've been to the surface, but we do try to keep them as updated as possible with information from our scouts and scrying and other means." And she sort of rummages about and then goes to one of the shelves and starts, collecting more scrolls and stuff as you guys look over the maps.
Well, thankfully, even in this world, topographical maps don't shift that dramatically most of the time.
Not terribly, no. Laying the blood compass on the table and looking at the maps, it doesn't immediately jump out at you as to where the fuck this is. So, give me a perception. As you rummage through books. Only 19. Okay, so going through all of the papers and whatnot that you can see of the continent of Emerron, you haven't like looking through the northeastern quadrant here. it doesn't appear as though it matches any of the geography that you're seeing. A short while later, he brings over some more papers of the northwestern quadrant. And as you rummage around and look through there, still nothing. But as you continue to... Oops, and we got ourselves a donation, Calendros, for the Ragaful. 2 tickets, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Yeah, I forgot to mention this, as I forget to mention every single fucking day, because it's me. We have ourselves a raffle going on today. Excuse me. So that's... our raffle today is for 3 wonderful games. The WWE 2K20, Brutal Legend, and Soul Calibur 6. As always, it's $5 for a ticket. Each ticket gets you into each of the 3 raffles that we've got going on. These games were donated by Calendros himself, by Magnoth Redux, and by Esteban. All proceeds go to help keeping the lights on here, keeping us fed, keeping all of our business sort of running, and, you know, keeping us making shows for you and all that business.
Considering what happened yesterday, I think I'll sit out.
That's quite all right. That's quite all right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even enter, and I still won all 3 games.
So, after an hour or 2 of poring over the 2 maps that you've got there, or rather the series of maps for the 2 larger quadrants of the Empire, he brings by a lot of papers for the southwestern quadrant of the Empire there. Now, there are a lot of old records that he has that show you what at least should have been this place. Though a lot of the names seem to have been struck out or removed, a lot of the other information pertaining to that area is very sparse. But there are a lot of old sort of building structure schematics and sort of town layouts, like where certain buildings are and whatnot. But Esteban, Talron knows that particular part of the Empire was abandoned after pretty much the entirety of that southwestern kingdom sank several hundred feet straight down and turned into a huge swamp.
Is it all a saltwater marsh too?
A little bit. It's fresh and saltwater. It is
Take a sip and try your luck.
Yeah, it is a big, gross, wet marsh thing that's dead and awful, and people don't go down there. However, some of the papers that he brings you that show not necessarily newer place, but at least newer in reference to what this place used to be, is a large city-state known as Alderth. And some of the geography that you have on your blood compass matches this place. See some of the shapes that it's showing you, some of the sort of structure that you're looking at, you can kind of guess that it's some of the buildings here. Not the largest buildings, but one of the larger buildings appears to be where she is.
It is not on our way.
Well, I mean, it all depends on which side of the Empire you decide to swing through, but yeah, you've got a mission here, and now you've got more information here. And of course, you're not on a particular timetable to get these things done, except that, well, I mean, the slaves are in a very difficult situation, so...
Every day, both groups have the potential to die, and or be put in worse situations.
Indeed. Though, of course, there is always more information if you need it.
More information if I need it?
Well, yes, because as you're, like, looking over the maps, and you're looking over sort of the city planning and the sort of top-down topography of Alderth, you see Benjamin come over with the last of the maps that he has for the southeastern quadrant of the Empire. And as he's sort of spreading them out and looking at them, he notices you sort of matching shapes to shapes with the blood compass compared to the sort of town layout for Alderth. He comes over and he goes, it seems you may have yourself a location. Though, it is a bit out of the way.
It would be the scenic route.
It's true, if you did... Let's see, and he opens up some of the maps and doesn't necessarily like put them together, but places them next to each other in such a way across the table, and he goes, if you were to leave the woods through here, you would have to move unseen past one of their last and largest farming communities of Allura. There is an abandoned town here you might be able to hide in and find supplies. Then it's just a matter of crossing the river and making your way to Alderth proper, and then moving across to here. It is certainly the longer road if you are looking to rescue the slaves, or if you come down from this side, you could move relatively unseen past Ibraniel. It's not immediately in your way. If you wanted to use the bridges, that could be challenging, but you could largely find your way past Willow. That has been largely abandoned, and then just move past Ogun to the south of your destination here, and then cross Cabbage Shire to Alderth here. So it's really dependent on which one you'd like to tackle first.
Saving a small child after saving a bunch of slaves may prove more difficult.
This is true, though the king did provide you with a bottle of his essence, did he not? That should be able to grant you swift passage in return, or at the very least, swift passage with everybody else in return.
Or perhaps swift passage for the slaves.
Indeed, if you went
allowed,
down,
we may...
freed the slaves, and then used the king's essence to have them return swiftly, then you could continue your mission unhindered to Alderth. Though once you rescue the child, it is a bit of a long walk back to the Empire here.
That is true. I shall
Would
not
the king... Would the king object to such a detour on our way back?
Well, so long as it doesn't take you too far out of your way, which, I mean, it is a bit out of the way. He sort of looks over the maps. I mean, it would be your choice. At the end of the day, freeing these slaves is as much your endeavor as it is the king's.
It is our primary mission.
Yes, it is.
Perhaps we might be able to offer you insight.
I would welcome such a...
He sort of gestures to the parchment with the map that's out on it. He goes, "This blood compass, may I borrow it for a brief moment? If we were perhaps to bring it to the king, he may be able to offer us information."
Please.
He nods and then gingerly sort of picks up and folds the picture and makes his way down the hallway, with sort of gesturing for the rest of you to come along as he makes his way down through the stone corridors. finding the way to the king's chambers, the great gates open to the room, and you guys find yourself back inside the large chambers, where you see those familiar flags hanging on the walls, and the king sitting in his throne, unsleeping at the end of the room. Walking along swiftly to the end of the hallway, or to the end of the throne room, Benjamin bows and takes a knee and says, "My liege, it appears as though some information has been brought to light with regards to the location of the little miss, who is at present still at large. We have had, it seems, this made," and he holds out and offers the parchment to the king. The king stands and eyes the parchment and sort of outstretches his hand, and the parchment sort of flips up into the air, makes its way floating over into his hand, and he regards it very closely.
A blood compass. Clever. These sorts of magics are only available to those who carry the sanguine curse. However...
And he turns it over in his hands a bit, looking at it.
I might be able to strengthen its connection, however briefly.
Benjamin stands and turns to Talrind and says, "Is this something you would agree to?"
As you have always known, my liege, I always hunt for her, and I will not stop now. Yes.
Your tenacity is admirable.
And slowly he steps down from the steps that lead up to the throne. He walks towards Talrind, and holding the picture in his left hand, reaches out with his right, and places it very gently upon your forehead.
Know her location.
And with a rush of magic, you are very briefly, your consciousness is transported across a realm, and the connection that you feel with this child is sort of like you feel yourself being hurled basically along this thin line through the universe, and you find yourself in a very fancy looking room, and it is adorned with like big silk pillows on a bed, and like it's good, like the bed has one of those big awnings on the top of it, and there's huge heavy black curtains that cover the windows. There's like large dressers on one side of the room, and a very large desk sitting in the middle area, and there's a series of candles that have been lit around the edges of the desk. And sitting at the desk, you see a young blonde woman, maybe in her late teens, early 20s, sitting at the desk writing something. As your consciousness drifts into the room, you almost instinctively reach out, and just as she's writing, she stops, sits up, and goes to turn to face you, but before you can see just the edge of her face as she's turning, you feel your consciousness hurl backwards across the universe to the throne room where you were standing. And this is as the king sort of pulls his hand away from you, and you see in his left hand the picture that he was holding, the sort of blood compass that was on the back of it burns and vanishes.
What did you see?
Room blacked out, her at a desk surrounded by chemicals.
Was she being kept well?
Potentially. I know she was not shackled, at least not visibly. I'm assuming I didn't.
No, looking at her, she was dressed well. Her hair was done up kindly. She was wearing a dress that you would commonly see adorned on a noblewoman. And there were no shackles around the room.
I'm not certain about the candles. The candles are confusing me.
How so?
Why would she sees in the dark?
I mean, just because you can see in the dark doesn't mean you have to.
Yeah,
Vampires
dark
like
vision.
dramatic effect.
And there's also the fact that dark vision is always in black and white in 5th ed.
Yeah, I mean, she's
So,
writing, so... Whatever she was doing, she was writing something. But yeah.
The connection made through the blood compass seems to have been disrupted by getting you this information. But now you know at least her location and the status of her well-being.
Did I see anything on the walls while I was there?
Big painting.
Of?
Swampland. It's like a big golden frame around the edge of it, and there's a lot of uses of like greens and browns and grays, and it is a painting of a large swampland.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, my liege.
I only hope that you are able to recover your lost friend. I believe her presence will help strengthen our kingdom. If that is what she chooses.
He he hands back to you the picture of the child's drawing and turns and makes his way back up to his throne and then sits back down again.
Oh, I thought you said the drawing was burnt up.
No, it was just the compass that was on the back of it was sort of like dissolved up and vanished.
Tolerant is significantly less heartbroken about this.
Yes.
Tolerant was going, it's gone.
Dang it. But no, yeah, he hands it back to you. It's just not enchanted anymore. He seems to have used the enchantment that was created to create a bridge for you, but it burned the enchantment out. Thankfully, didn't also burn the picture.
Thankfully. I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say that we probably can't just go get it re-enchanted.
Probably not, no. That seems to have been a one-time bridge connection that was made.
My king, when we complete our mission to free the slaves and send them back to you through methods such as the vial that you gave us, would you object to us staying behind to take on this side mission of rescuing this child?
It is good that you ask, Aloy. However, your will is your own. If, after you free these slaves, you wish to send them back to us and remain deep within Empire territory so that you may rescue this girl, that is your call. I will support your decisions. Though I loathe leaving my children in situations where they are in danger, I will not keep you here against your will. If you would like to continue life out there, to even just to rescue this child, do so, and I will do all that I can to help from here.
Ally will give a bow and just say, "Thank you, my king."
He nods back as yeah, is there anything else you guys have?
Talrand does bow to the king.
Okay.
And say one final thank you before.
Bows back, well, nods in a slight fashion as a king does. And then, yeah, you guys are escorted on out.
Elation now deflated. Talrand is a maelstrom of uncertainty.
Yeah. So you guys find yourselves on the foot of the palace.
I'm sorry, Palace. We stepped on your foot. I'm not apologizing.
We got a funny guy over here.
Where's the eye puns, man?
So yes, you guys find yourself outside. Is there anything else that you do for the rest of the evening?
I think Alloy and Talrand are waiting, if that's what Talrand chooses to do now.
Mm-hmm.
Ominously waiting outside of Goober's shop.
Alloy is probably just gonna
I'm heart attack in the morning.
Alloy is probably gonna ask Talrand, "This child that you've been looking for, what does she mean to you?"
She was my goddaughter. And I am the one who rendered her into an orphan.
Woof.
I see.
I have a lot to repay on this.
Forgive me for bringing up old wounds.
No. As I tell the king, I will never stop hunting.
Ally will just kind of give a slight nod and continue just wait with Talrand.
Okay. So yeah, you guys just wait outside of Goober's place.
I'm gonna come right up.
All right. So early in the morning.
Wait.
Hmm?
Sorry, there was something I wanted to do with my character and his mom.
Okay. Yeah. What's up?
Basically, I'm going to be trying to get more information about her homeland.
Yeah. So if you ask her about where she's from, she does deflect a little bit and say that simply she's from the surface, same as many of the rest of her kind.
Where if we were to get into specifics, would it be the kingdom of Oren? Was it? I'm sorry, I'm kind of blanking on the name of the Oron. Yeah, the king.
Yes, she, in the middle of sort of fussing about around the house, in a very dotting housewife kind of way, she sort of freezes a little bit and then continues about her business. And she says, "Maybe. What does it matter? Now we're here. We're of these people. We don't need to worry about who we were or where we're from."
Well, I find it may be important, considering the next mission the king is having my team go on brings me rather close to that land.
She visibly appears to get upset, and your father stands and sort of comes along and puts a hand on your shoulder and leads you into a study that's off to the side, and gestures for you to sit in one of the large chairs that he has.
All right.
As you come in and take a seat, he closes the door behind you, sits down in the chair across from you, and goes, "So, you're going to be heading to the southeast."
Indeed, we stumbled upon a team of slavers from there. Seems they have a camp there where many that the Empire of Light would deem simply as monsters and eradicate.
Your mother was held in very unfortunate circumstances. She does prefer to believe that the kingdom of Oran remains dead, as it was when she left. The cataclysm that took that place took a toll on the land and on the people who remained, including your mother's tribe. When she escaped, and it was an escape, she eventually did make her way here, and is happy to forget that that whole part of her life even happened. What is it that you need to know about the kingdom of Oran?
For right now, mainly what I can expect to see down there.
Well, he leans back in his chair, and he furrows his brow as he thinks to himself. He takes out his pipe and packs a bit of tobacco into it and lights it with a match, and sort of leans back as he puffs on his pipe a little bit and goes, "Well, it's hard to say. It was some time when she escaped, though, I mean, she doesn't speak of it often, very little when she does. But the bits and pieces that I did gather is that it is a wasteland of corruption. That all who exist there for too long eventually become host to some kind of monster or another. People all too easily lose their minds down there. There are some, I guess, who would use that corruption to their benefit."
Sounds very much like the forest where the white beast was hiding.
Indeed. The corruption does seem to be spreading in many areas, depending on where you are or who you talk to. I mean, I've done my fair share of traveling in my youth, and there are a lot of very nasty places across the continent.
I see. Another thing I very much wish to know, though I feel I'm not going to get any information from Mother at this point, is where my magic originated. From what I can tell, my magical bloodline did not come from your side of the family, Father.
Well, and he sort of chuckles and he shifts in his seat uncomfortably. And he goes, "Wow, well, it's truly it's hard to say. Your sorcerous magics that you are studying and wielding and growing, and of course, remember, I am so proud of you in all the strides that you've been making in discovering yourself. It is truly a privilege to watch you grow. But I believe that it still originates from where much of our magic comes from, and that is our draconic ancestors. Those were great titanous beings born of pure magic, and they, I mean, at one point, they say, walked the world and gave birth to people like us. Your power that you possess could have hopped, skipped, and jumped its way down either of our lineages to find you. Though your, I'm going to say, perception that this corruption has somehow found its way to you, the corruption that your mother lived with and perhaps has found its way into you and gives you this strength, I would not put a lot into those thoughts. I think that those could be easily dismissed, and one would not need to worry about it quite so much.
All right. Thank you, Father.
Of course. Son, you always know that if you need anything to talk to me about anything, I'm always here to listen. Always happy to help.
All right. I do have much to think about for tonight.
Certainly. Meditate on this in your travels. If you discover anything else, or if you have any more questions, you can ask me about it. I wouldn't want to trouble your mother with this any more than is absolutely necessary.
Yeah. Yes, I now understand what she may very well be trying to forget.
Yes, it is. It was a very difficult time for her and for many of her people, and it does her well to just forget that time happened.
All right. Good night, Father.
Of course. Good night, son. He kind of gets up and gives you a sort of like a little, like what you would imagine a dad doing, like a hair tussle thing, but he like does it on the end of your snoot. Just gives you like a little on the end of your nose and smiles at you and walks away.
And with that, now Dracula goes, hits the hay for the night.
Okay. And the night passes relatively peacefully. There's not a whole lot going on. As you guys make your way into the market in the morning, you find yourselves at the usual place, just outside of... Let's see if I can find it. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. Where'd it go? Yeah, is it not gonna be there? Is it gonna be here? God, jeez, there it is. Why not? Yeah. What about that one? No, not that one. What about that one?
Wait.
Sure, that works. As you guys sort of, the day breaks in the early morning, and both Talrand and Alloy are standing outside of Goober and Gobble's Garbage Emporium, and as you're waiting there and day is breaking and people are starting to get up and bustle about, surprisingly early, you see Goober tup walking around down the street as he's got Gobble, his pet toad, sitting on the top of his head. Seeing the two of you standing outside his shop, he doesn't seem to say anything. He just smiles at you as he walks up and gives each of you a little hug on the leg and then walks inside his shop.
I'm gonna come running up. More kazoos.
I'm sorry, I'm back now.
Okay, you just missed Goober coming along, just gave you a little hug on the shin, and then walked into his shop.
Hello, Goober. I come running up. And you're like, are we all here? What's going on? No, we're still missing people.
Yeah. We are missing people. We've got some information about the secondary target.
Seeing you standing outside the shop, Goober sort of notices you and then comes walking back up to the door of the shop and goes, "Oh, hello, Piffles. Good to see you. Are you here for all of your granola?"
Yes, we are here for the granola. How's my big guy doing, my Tobe?
He poops a lot.
He does.
It's
I mean, he does stop.
there was, yeah. It's I'm thinking it might be to do with his diet. I don't know.
Well, we did find him in a forest filled with mushrooms that apparently if you if you touch them too much, they make you shit yourself to death.
Oh fuck! Okay, so
I don't know if he was eating those.
yeah, no, I've got him on a steady diet of some of the undergrubs that we've got here, and I'm just hoping that that'll just clean him right out, you know, and he'll maybe start to settle down a little bit. Sheesh, that was I don't know what you've been feeding him before, but it was like a catastrophe.
I was just giving him granola.
I've never seen so much poop. And I'm a goblin.
Yup.
I had to borrow someone else's chamber pot. It was rough. Anyway, so after cleaning him off, he's doing okay. We just got him sitting on a nice little bed in the shop there, where I've decided to keep him away from my home. So that's good. But yeah, we have the crate of granola that I've prepped. If anyone would like to come in and get it, because I can't carry it. It's too much.
Crate of granola.
A little bit, yeah. It's a little. Well, I mean, it's less of a crate to you. You're a big fella, but yeah, it's over here. And he tup walks back inside. He gestures for you to follow him. Leading you inside, there is just like
squeeze through the door.
Yeah. Getting inside the shop, it's not so hard. But as you get in there, it's like, yeah, it's kind of tight in here. And you see, standing in sort of like amidst all of the stuff that's in there, you see that there is a crate in the middle of the room on the floor filled with a mixture of granola and other things. And there's a little picture of Goober and Gobble right there. There's a little Gobbo.
So, 4 more granola bars?
Yeah. There's 4 more bricks in there. You can divvy that up however you like. Or just carry it like this and break off pieces as you need. It's up to you.
Thank you, Phil.
Like, we're all there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll say that, like, one by one, the rest of you have showed up slowly and find your way inside Goober's.
Yep.
Like, Dracula shows visible disgust at the granola.
I'm gonna look for
Well,
groups.
Look for
Back to granola.
more kazoos.
More kazoos and Grumbus.
And
I
Grumbus.
still have like I think 12 kazoos.
You see, sitting in a wooden box over to one side, filled with dead leaves, there is Grumbus, your great big toad that you rescue from the swamps in the woods, some of the darker, danker parts of the woods. And then next to his box is a large box of dead leaves that are, I imagine, used to sort of change them out every now and then. There's a big old box of pooping leaves, and yeah, and then he's got like a smaller sort of jar full of large white grubs sitting there as well. And the Grumbus sort of every now and then eyes the jar of grubs.
I'm gonna just pat him on the head, give him a grub.
Does he stop croaking? Is he not groaning like he's dying, like he usually is?
Well, as you pat him on the head, he looks up at you mournfully and just lets out like a murr at you. Which here, roll me animal handling.
Oh god, this is gonna be bad.
Yeah.
It's always bad.
Yeah.
You know it's always
Yeah, do it.
Still gonna be funny as hell.
You're pretty sure that's a happy noise. You're not sure.
Oh, I actually did okay.
Like, it could be a happy noise that he's made when you pet him. It's hard to tell.
I'm gonna feed him a couple grubs.
Yeah, you pick a couple of grubs out, and he definitely appears a little more lively when you take some of the grubs out of the jar, and he kind of like steps on the spot, like does a little waddle in his place, and then like opens his big stupid mouth at you, expectedly.
I'm gonna drop them right in his face.
And he goes, "Nom, nom, 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 nom," and eats them up. It is, for some onlookers, very cute. For others, wildly disgusting. So it's hard to tell depending who you are. But yeah, no, he gobbles up the things and then kind of like waddles a little bit in his spot and looks up at you and goes, "Mrrr."
Ooh, sweet.
Colorado can't smell any of it. Gently ruffles Piffle's hair and says, "It's a nice pet."
Okay.
Congratulations, Ted. It's a squid. It's a fucking Men in Black one.
I'm gonna go looking for kazoos.
Poking around the shop, you don't see any
Or
kazoos.
other musical things.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you don't see any kazoos. It seems you have the monopoly on kazoos right now. But rummaging around, you see some... I mean, that bucket of spoons looks pretty enticing. You could probably play a lot of those spoons.
But I already gave the spoons away. I gave them to the Grays.
Yeah,
Does he have another bucket of spoons?
There's another smaller bucket of spoons.
Man, he's been holding out on you.
Yeah, he's been holding back on
Are there any little, like, penny whistle style flutes or any tambourines or anything?
You see a tambourine, though the thing that's stretched across, like the leather that would be stretched across the center of the tambourine seems to have been compromised, as there's a big old hole in it. Rummaging around a little bit more, you see a small xylophone has been sort of stacked up on top of some junk, and there's like a very simple flute that you see, like a very simple wooden, like, Irish penny whistle.
I might take the flute. I'm gonna pick it up and attempt to, like, play it and see, like...
Yeah, give me a performance check.
Okay. Let's hope this doesn't suck. Shouldn't suck.
Yeah, you pick it up, and you're like, oh yeah, and you put your fingers on where, like, the holes are, and you're like, okay, and you blow into it, and it makes just the worst noise. It appears to be busted.
Yeah, I also totally ignored one of my own rules of never put anything from goobers in your mouth.
Yep. You got some
So
dust in your mouth now.
Spit it a little bit. I'm just gonna.
You see-
That sounded and tasted terrible.
Yeah, you see Goober standing up on, like, his usual desk next to where he conducts his business normally, just kind of clap his hands and go, yay, good.
Doc, you gave me a heart attack with the flute.
Why?
Because the music timing, and you're like, there's this, and there's the xylophone, and the music goes quiet. A very plain, very just normal looking flute, and there's no music. Dead quiet. Suddenly dead quiet from this, like, happy, like, tiki bar in the background. To dead quiet, and I'm like,
Yeah. And you just slowly turn like, no. Oh, God. No. It just makes this awful, like, noise when you blow into it and you get a mouthful of dust, and Goober laughs and claps his hands because he thinks you did it intentionally for his amusement. So he's very happy.
Goober, the place you'd find a MacGuffin, but like the monkey's paw kind of MacGuffin, not the good type of MacGuffin.
It's like, yeah, you found a fucking jar of Jolly Ranchers. Like, oh, cool. Yeah, they're all soap flavored. Oh.
Oh, fuck.
Or they
Found
give
a
you
thing of
narcolepsy.
fruit roll up. Oh, cool. It's the Oops All Wrapper flavor. Oh.
Okay,
Grody.
I'm to my kazoos.
So many kazoos and yet no banjo.
Are there any music stores in this city? I think I just go to Goober's because it's convenient.
Yeah, like, Goober's is sort of the convenient place. There isn't any particular, like, musical instrument shops. Some shops will occasionally have them on display, though when it comes to adventuring goods and just a large variety of goods in general, Goobers is usually the place that a lot of people will tend to frequent, for the purposes of the fact that Goober is a very good friend of Fibge, who is one of their surface scouts.
Yeah.
So if they come back with anything particularly good, it'll usually be with Fibge, and it'll usually find its way into Goober's hands. So this is usually the best store to find a lot of that stuff. A lot of it ends up being busted. Any sort of artificers who build their instruments themselves, like any craftsmen who make them natively down here in the kingdom, could be around, but there aren't any, like, music shops per se. There isn't a Bose here.
Just had a brief image of you said Fibge was the one of the scouts, but the scouts came to pick up Talrand after he was dead. The image of Fibge with Talrand's dead body dragging behind, like on his back, and Fibge going, "Oh, this is the worst loot ever." Like he's dragging me across the blasted wasteland.
Hey Fibge, what'd you find on the surface this week?
Well, I found a couple of bugs that I put in my favorite jar, and another kazoo, and a dead guy,
And a what?
and some balloons, but there's holes in them.
Like, can we go back one?
Like, no, go back.
Oh, you mean these bugs?
No, after that.
Oh, the dead guy.
But yeah, because he's a goblin, so a full-sized body just.
it probably wasn't, because like Fibge operates more as a scout than anything else. The agents that were going to come and retrieve the young vampire from your custody wouldn't have been Fibge. It may have actually been other vampires.
Fair enough.
Hey, why'd you all order a dead guy?
We got a
giant metal guy here.
Anybody else want this?
Gets back. Were you the one that ordered the small vampire girl? Yes, I have a dead guy for you.
That's like almost.
Like, it's so close.
It's like kind of what you asked, but also not at all what you asked.
Do you have any other options?
Whoops.
What kind of kazoo?
What was that? Sorry, you cut out.
What kind of kazoo do you got?
He kind of like looks at you blankly.
Kazoos?
Kazoo. I heard you say you had kazoo.
No, you have all the kazoos.
Oh,
You have them.
I could have sworn I just heard you say that.
Every kazoo that comes into this town for some reason has ended up in your tight-fisted possession, and I haven't been able to sell good, glorious kazoos to anyone.
They're my favorite noisemaker, okay?
Yeah, well, there might be some other people's favorite noisemakers too, if you hadn't stopped to consider that for a moment. But no, you only think of you.
Play on kazoo music.
You only think of
You have
yourself.
to hire me.
Tiny mom, tiny dad, please stop fighting.
I think at this point,
Hard. I gotta make a living. I'm the only one who plays kazoos. People pay to see kazoos.
There's like 50 kazoos. How could you possibly play them all?
Well, I tried to teach an orc how to play one, and he ate it.
Of course he did.
Some of them end up casualties.
You're gonna give an orc anything, he's gonna eat half the things you give him.
I think that's racist.
Of course
I'm
it
pretty
is.
sure that's racist.
You're hogging all the kazoos. All the other kazoo lovers who come in here daily, I might add. Daily we get people coming in here weeping, talking about how they miss the kazoos and how there's no kazoos in all of Autometh. And I just tell them that there's just one goblin they need to turn their gaze on, and it's you!
How many kazoo players could possibly be in Autometh that haven't already found out that that she has all the kazoos?
I mean, truthfully, one, and that's her. But if there were other people who wanted to play kazoos, they could come in here and ask about them. Maybe nobody comes in and asks about the kazoos because they're all gone already. If I had kazoos to sell, maybe we could sell them, but somebody's cornered the market. Greedy gobbo fingers over here.
It's Sticky Fingers.
Well then, as Alloy's standing over the box of granola, shall we figure out how we're packaging this and then get a move on? We are already burning daylight.
Yeah, we should get going.
You say sticky fingers, I say gobbo fingers. Other people say jam hands. It's like you don't have any jam in the house, but somehow kids get jam on their hands, you know? It's sticky.
So like jazz. I'm gonna do jazz hands. I'm gonna be like jam hands.
No, but okay.
Alright, Caleb's just listening into their arguments. What the fuck are they on about?
What is happening?
Like, Drakiar leans over. It's goblins. What you could expect out of them.
I didn't hear you. I got the ears.
Racist.
Piffles, we should beat the
Alloy's packaging up the granola into a bag.
Yeah, Caleb just leans to Drakiar. That's a little bit racist.
Thank you for everything, Goober.
Anytime. You guys enjoy all your granola and have a safe trip out there. Don't get hurt or nothing.
Bye, Goober.
Bye.
Thanks for taking care of Grumbus.
Of course.
Hope he
How
doesn't poop
heavy
too
is
much.
4 bars of granola?
Oh, you'd be looking at about 20 pounds.
All right.
What?
Jesus!
There are
I've
5 pound bars of
granola
granola.
last
It
time.
is densely packed. Each brick of granola is 5 pounds apiece.
Yeah, they're about the size of like a brick, aren't they?
Yeah, they're about the size of a mason brick.
Yep.
I now have 4 granola in my inventory for some reason.
For
Thank you,
reasons
Ally.
beyond comprehension. Now I'm
I
doing
was trying to carry all of the granola on my own. I had the report from yesterday.
Okay, are we good to go?
All right.
Not quite yet.
All right. What do you need?
Something occurred to me last night to ask the king. Like, if we're going to disguise ourselves as the slavers, we might want to ask the king if he, from the memories of the slavers, he, well, deleted. We may want to see if he gained any information about their hierarchy, their day-to-day, what groups that are out there.
Or we can just go to a pub in the area and listen.
Perhaps asking Benjamin for if there is any methods that could help disguise us.
Look, your method is sound, but do we really want to ask the being who yeeted Deletus, that bastard, from our existence, such trivial questions?
I mean,
Fair.
you guys could fashion your own disguises, especially if you're going to be traveling like outside a lot of the larger cities and stuff like that. There are ways for you to make yourselves look living. Some of you even possess natively magical abilities that allow you to do that.
Yeah, plus Caleb sort of holds out this guy's case. Yeah, and I have this.
He does also have that.
It
Calendros is like, Yeetus Deletus sounds like a great spell.
I walked out the door, but as soon as they're talking about disguises, Talorand does a visible sigh, which is impressive for something that can't breathe. He turns back into Goober's and asks, real quick, Goober, do you have a mask? Something basic and mostly unoffensive.
He's just like, I don't know what that second thing is, but yeah. And he, like, kind of digs through and rummages a little bit, pulls out a wooden box that has a series of masks in them. Some of them are like domino masks that people would wear to very fancy gatherings. All of them are dusty. Some of them, they look kind of like the masks that the vampires were wearing, except a lot cheaper and a lot shittier. One of them is just like a plain wooden mask that covers the face. Another one is like almost like a pair of Groucho Marx glasses. Like it's got a big fake silly nose and a huge stupid mustache on it, and like great big bushy eyebrows.
I take the wooden mask. I'm not wearing Groucho Marx.
Oh God!
Damn it!
Come on!
They're amazing.
If there is a tailor nearby, I think Alloy is gonna go over there and ask them for like a cloak with a hood, gloves, and like a face wrap.
Yeah, looking around town, you find your way to, like a series of different shops, one of which has, like, you know, a tailor. There's, like, a seamstress there who's working and sewing on some things, and you know, give them your measurements and say that you need, like, a cloak made that comes with a face wrap and, like, probably a big hood. And they're like, yes, of course, and they take your measurements, and they quickly start putting something like that together. It said it should only take maybe an hour for them to, you know, throw together something like that.
Actually,
Basically, Alloy's trying to put together an outfit that he can wear over his armor to make him appear like just
a big human.
like a big human.
Big guy.
You just gave me an idea. Obviously, we're still at the tailor's. Just gonna take a look around. Basically, what I want to find is sort of like a doctor's costume.
A doctor's costume.
I have an idea.
Plague Doctor's costume or more modern Doctor's costume?
I'd say plague.
The person at the tailor's says that they have clothing that could be seen as similar to that, yes. And they bring forth a series of, like, medic's robes. And says that it was a fashion that was used by healers on the surface at one point, though she didn't ever really imagine that anyone would be buying it. But they have it.
All right.
Honestly,
It's a series of, like, modest light brown robes that has, like, a large white scarf that is worn around the neck and it dangles down. And it comes with a big hood.
With a big hood. No mask?
There is no mask for these particular robes, no. But you do see that there are a series of colored bands on the left sleeve.
Okay.
That are, like, white, red, white.
Alright, just gonna take a look at the... Yeah, I'm gonna buy the one that fits the best. Like, the best fit. That can fit over my armor.
Yeah, and that won't cost you more than maybe a gold or two.
Alright, I'll pay the person and just take a look and see if I can just stuff that in, like, my sack or something.
Yeah, it folds up easily enough. Fits in your bag. Like the next size and accepts that his best disguise will be as a child of some nature. Thinks further realizing his best disguise will be to tell people he's a leopard because you cannot hide a snout.
Got the same problem over here.
I'm gonna try and find some kind of hat that will cover my big ass ears.
Looking through the shops, you find a wide-brimmed straw hat that you could use, and you think that, like, if you tie your ears up sort of on the top of your head, if you sort of fold them up there or use like a clothespin to hold the tips of them together, you might be able to put the hat on over top of it and hide your ears up inside the hat.
Maybe, but they're like on either side of my head. I don't know if they'll fold up that easy. That wouldn't be comfortable.
They're definitely that big.
They're that big, but are they that bendy? Ears aren't usually very bendy.
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 Well, who knows?
Maybe I could pin them behind my head. That might be easier than up top.
Wear a headband and a hat.
Yeah, there you go.
Maybe.
But yeah, if you think that you might, if you like wrap a piece of cloth around the top of your head before you put the hat down, you might be able to flatten your ears against the top of your head.
Maybe.
In some fashion. And yeah, you each, if you were looking for it, find the same simple brown robes that Alloy appears to be having tailor-made for him, but there are a series of other robes that they have for sale in the shop for a couple of gold apiece that they would be willing to get for you.
How much would the outfit cost me?
Because it's being tailor-made for you, it's going to be about 5 gold. But the rest of them, they have in varying sizes, including like goblin/kobold sizes and medium human sizes.
Oh, okay.
How much would the regular ones cost?
About 2 gold piece.
Okay.
All right.
How much did I pay for my wooden mask?
Your wooden mask, I'm going to say, was 5 gold. It is a hand-carved wooden mask.
Oh, one thing I forgot to ask. How many lunches did my mother prepare me?
Your mother has prepared for you 4 lunches. She tells you in successive order which ones to eat. So she's like, this one's your first lunch, and this is lunch number 2, this one's 3, and this one's 4. And then, hopefully, you'll have made some distance on where you're going, and it'll be fine.
I'm going to assume the reason she told me that is the order of how quickly they'll spoil.
Yeah.
Yep.
The first one is a ham sandwich.
You are not looking forward to the alternative if you run out of those lunches.
Oh, I know we're going to run out of those lunches with how long we have to trek.
I was going to say, you might prefer to pest her for Goodberry rather than Grenoble.
Also, how much do the cloaks weigh? Are they just meaningless weight, or?
Oh, it's like meaningless. Like the cloaks don't weigh much, so I'm not gonna make you track that.
Okay.
It's just a cloak.
When we get a second after the tailor, I'm going to pull everyone aside to a spot where no one can listen in, because I'm not sure if this may involve information that the king may not want spread towards the population.
So we go into the woods.
Oh, the closest spot we can find that isn't where people won't where people won't be trying to overhear us or anything.
So the woods.
The woods.
There are goblins everywhere in the city.
This is the Goblin Complex.
Well, it's near around the Goblin Complex, yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, you guys get into the forest and find yourself standing in amongst some trees by yourselves.
Last night, I was trying to ask my mother for information, and I managed to get some indirectly through my father. The kingdom of Oron is basically a wasteland, and I now think I know why. It sounds like another one of the underlords has made that area his domain. His or her domain.
Okay, but I do have one question. Though. What does that have to do with us freeing slaves?
What did
we briefly enter their territory?
Yes. What did? I'm not forgetting the name of the underlord.
Umlaut.
What did Umlaut have to do with our mission with finding the White Beast?
Nothing. He was just a prick.
Exactly. And this other underlord may not be too happy about seeing the king's servants within his territory the same way as Umlaut. He may even this one may even get hostile.
And the last one wasn't?
The last one was just threatening. I mean, actually take hostile action against us. If
Some
they
of you
were,
may remember that the corrupted state of the White Beast was brought about by Umalaut's influence.
So you mean it'd actually send toy? It would actually send. I kind of refuse to say underlings at this point because, let's just say, send his or her toys at us.
exactly.
Hmm.
By the sounds of it, we should not venture too far into the ruined kingdom as much as we need to. And be prepared for anything.
And I have news of my charge. I proceed to share essentially everything that happened the prior night.
Oh,
So,
okay.
All right.
Are there mushrooms anywhere? We're in a forest.
Looking around the woods, do me a search check.
I
Pip,
gotta keep my friends entertained.
Pip, what are you doing?
I can sell them.
What are you doing?
I'm looking at.
You
So am
know,
I
just
is it perception I'm doing, or is it in the investigation?
Perception.
I perceive.
You, looking
Nothing.
around on the floor of the forest, you find a common small brown mushroom.
Only one?
All right. You know what? After Piff just looking at that, it's just after a quick little facepalm moment. If you don't mind, I want to roll a perception check to see if there's edible fruit nearby.
Sure. Yeah, do me perception.
wow.
I told Shauna and I would
Oh,
get
hey,
a
look
mushroom
at that.
after I ate
That
one.
wasn't a stealth roll.
Yeah, looking around, you see a little bush that has what you recognize to be some edible berries on it.
Ah, good. In that case, I'll just grab a bushel and it's just Piff. No, don't eat that. You
I'm
don't
not
know.
eating it. I'm taking it.
Okay, good. In that case, hold out your hands.
Okay.
And he just puts berries in Piff's hands. Just there, eat those.
Sweet. And I'm just gonna mash them in my face hole and have berries on my face.
Roll me Constitution.
Over with poison.
I swear, if you just shush me for wanting mushrooms, then fucking poison me. I'm gonna blow you up.
You just
How do
ate
I-
a bunch of berries that were found in a bush. Roll me Constitution. You're fine.
he did use search and not survival.
I'm a thief, not a survivalist.
No, the berries are fine. I was just messing with you. It's okay.
Alloy makes a sound equivalent to clearing their throat. And he goes, yes, now that that's out of the way, we do have some decisions to make. In terms of on our way to the brain. On our way to our objective, we may be passing by a city on the East Coast that I think a couple of us might have some things of interest there.
Wait. On the East Coast.
What was that city called?
Can we get a map brought up? Good sir DM.
Oh yeah, if you want to look at the map briefly. Boop.
Icarus.
Egress.
Egress.
Wait, did you say egress or ecris?
Egress.
Egress?
Egress.
So
This one here.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Egress and egress.
Egress. Yeah.
why do you have two towns that sound so similar, Doc?
Because that is often the way of things. And I literally wrote them down and was like, those two look really similar. And then I thought, yeah, but you do have a lot of towns that have similar names. So it would not be strange that, all those towns in the northern part of the empire all start with an E.
Except this
Now,
one.
just a refresher to Alloy's memory. The what was it? The white beast guy.
Oh, Bodak.
Bodak did tell him that it was Ikris where he saw the other Warforge.
That is correct. There was a warehouse that he saw there with a bunch of old Empire wartime stuff sort of stacked in it, of which there was one other of your Warforged kind deactivated and placed to the side. One of the members of the village used to talk to Bodak at great length when they would sit down and eat together about all the stories and legends that surrounded their kind.
I do wish to make a stop by Ikris if possible to confirm this story that Bodak told me, at the very least.
So one of your friends might be there, deactivated in a warehouse.
If I can at the very least confirm they are there, I might be able to bring that information back to the kingdom and a scouting party could probably retrieve it.
Wait, like a body? Or like, do you just shut down every so often and they put you in a...
My kind was dismantled long ago. I managed to escape by by falling in battle in the forest.
And
I don't know how this one has managed to survive.
From what I'm hearing, we may have to make some choices about what order we go to. Because it seems that the locations that Talrand and Alloy both wish to visit are on opposite sides of the Empire.
Alright.
Yeah, the points of interest do kind of go in that regard, though one of them that you're after is here, not necessarily in Ogun. It's a ways south along the edge of the wasteland.
Alright.
We don't have to go to the other one, Egrass? We only have to go to Ecress?
That's correct.
Okay.
Well, Egrass is also where that red statue that came from Oron, the red dragon statue that had the insignia of Drakier's family, was found by Caleb in one of those places.
Yeah, but it's very out of the way right now, and I don't want to...
Well, that all depends, because if you go from the kingdom and you decide to go in this direction to there first, and then around this spot, then from there you can use the King's Essence to teleport everyone back from that. But you do lose out on getting to Ikris. Or, if you want to try to go the other way, round to this town, and then down to there, and then across, and then up, that is entirely your call.
Could we not?
Whoop-de-doo.
Could we
not go here, teleport all these people home and not go with them, and then just go here and go back home?
That is true.
I think that's probably one thing that Alloy mentioned.
It was brought to their attention that the what's the word I'm looking for? That the slaves may take priority because of the situation that they're in.
True.
Every day that they're there is a difficult time, whereas the information that could be gained from Egris in the Ikris, the coastal town there that has the deactivated Warforged in it, or like those, you definitely want to go check those out, but they're not an immediate concern. It really all depends on how you guys want to play this out. Like, if you want to hit those towns first, then by all means.
It might actually be better to take a more inefficient route. Go directly, get the slaves. Go to over here. Go back around the Egris, hit Ikris, and then go back. Because honestly, Ikris is the closest back to the...
So let's see if
I have hitting the slaves first is the Empire's response?
Well, if the Empire
Well, easier
responds,
to
they're going to
group anyway.
respond. They're going to respond directly in that area. If we get out quick, they'll have no reason to follow us to any of the other locations.
They will dispatch hunter teams, and they will follow us.
Then we will murder them for the kiss.
If they're
make your
the thing-
first, you could make your first run like so. Or if you really wanted to, you could try to move across that way so that you would avoid Braniel entirely. And then, by priority, move to here, and then come back around. And at this point, you can then take your time moving through the field. You can then move to there, and then to there.
Hunter teams can only follow us if they have information on who we are.
When we hit a large camp filled with slaves, all destined for largely high-ranking nobles who can afford rare and different slaves.
If there are no slavers left, or if we go in disguised and get out without them seeing our true faces, they can't report us back.
This is true. I mean, that could be a plan.
That, and at the end of the day, it's like, oh look, it's a kobold. How many humans can identify one kobold from another, or one dead guy from another, or one goblin from another? The only one who really will be like, well, that's memorable, would be Alloy.
Actually, no. It's like even Alloy's like it's a warforged. Yeah, they're rare, but unless they get a good look at Alloy,
It's just a generic warforged.
I'm actually the one who stands out most with my combination of black and red scales.
We
Yes.
don't live in the Empire.
Yeah, like no one outside of Autobot even knows who the hell we are at all.
All of you living people. The
Monsters
most,
breed
the most
monsters.
concerning.
Yeah.
And
A weird
remember,
international
one of the huge
creature
things
showed
we
up to
just
rescue a bunch of slaves.
one of the huge things we just did was create disguises.
Yeah.
So a properly well played plan, we can't be reported back. So it would be entirely reliant on the hunter teams catching us before we leave the area. If we can do that, if we can get out of the area before they arrive, they can't follow us unless we monumentally screw up. Which at that point, we just go back with the slaves directly to Autometh. And we pick up on these side things at a later date.
Yeah, why don't we just go here, teleport them back without us, and then just ding 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 and go back
If
home.
something wrong happens, we go
Then
back
we
with the
teleport back
slaves.
with them. Yeah, and then we just come back out and go ding 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 instead. So we can play it by either. Either we can teleport home with the slaves if things get tight, or we can teleport them back and go without them. Either way, I think that's our first stop.
Okay. So
Is
you
there any
guys
objections?
Have yourselves a path, I believe.
Think we're good. Lots of places to look for mushrooms.
As you find yourselves.
One quick question, Doc.
Mhm.
When it comes to the forest, is the whole thing kind of under the control of Umlaut, or just a certain section?
Well, I mean, you guys were on the far western side, and you found the corruption was very thick there, as well as the others were more to the eastern side and found it was like just as thick with the Temple of Umlaut that the A-Team ran into. So
Except we don't have any of the information from the A-Team. We as players do, but our characters don't.
that's
I specifically avoided watching the stream, so I don't know.
correct. At this point, you have not seen them return. They have not yet returned back to the kingdom.
Wait,
So
so
canonically, a good chunk of the A-Team is still in Autometh.
Canonically, yes. Martis is still there. The Leshen still patrols the streets.
So wait, the woods we are walking through are also Umalet's woods?
Yeah.
There is one long stretch of woods dividing the wasteland that we're in from the rest of the Empire, basically.
Okay, and we in character know that these are Umalet's woods. Sorry, I missed that if we did.
No, that's okay. In character, you are aware that those woods are tainted by his corruption, yes.
We know that the western half is thick with it. We don't know much about the eastern half.
Certain parts are definitely more corrupted than others.
That is thick with 2 C's.
Stabs random trees with a dagger as he walks past.
We're not
in those woods right now. We're not there now.
You're in your King's Forest. Don't!
So, once we get close to the woods, I can use my magic to identify whether or not Umalaut has control over that section. If it's a thick control, we probably want to camp outside the woods for the night and then spend a whole day just trying to rush past them.
Mercenary's like, just so we know, all the woods are Umalaut's taint.
God!
Damn it.
Look for the ban button.
Umlaut has many eyes, right?
What was that?
Because Umlaut has many eyes and many limbs, right?
That's correct, yes.
So, he probably has many exit orifices.
What are you doing?
I can't tell if you're talking out your ass or not.
Maybe he's like a sea cucumber. Maybe there's only one orifice.
It's buttholes all the way down.
It's butt.
You're all fired.
Yep.
Thank you, Quad.
That's
Thank
fair.
you.
No, that's fair. Oh man. All right, so you guys have a plan. From what I understand, just to reiterate for the folks at home, the plan thus far is to exit the gates and sort of make your way along through the woods here, and then down along this way, and then as you guys head south, kind of dodging towns until you get to there, rescue the slaves, make your way across to here, rescue vampire person, get on up in here, solve mystery about a thing, get over here, solve mystery about a thing.
Sweet.
Cool?
And then go home.
Potentially recruit another Warforge.
And then potentially recruit a guy and go home. All right.
Recruit a vampire and a guy.
Cool.
Cool.
So yeah, you guys find yourselves in the woods. You now have a plan. It is still very early. It's like maybe 9 in the morning.
Sweet. Lots of time for mushrooms.
That's very early for me. I just realized.
I see no if we're prepared to head out, I see no reason why we should wait.
Let's go.
Yes, let's.
As you guys turn to leave, and start making your way towards the towards where, like, in the center of Autometh, where the arena is. As you guys are making your way along, you hear, coming through the woods, a semi-familiar set of footprints.
What for him?
Coming along, though this time considerably less messy and covered in blood and mud and things, you see a huge-ass bear. Come sort of trudging along through the woods, considerably calmer, really kind of just looking around at the trees, and then it sees you guys over in the corner, and it just and like trudges its way over to where you guys are standing. And yeah, Sneck waves up at the werebear, and the werebear kind of looks down at Sneck. And like pushes its huge nose down into Sneck, and gives you a big sniff. He scratches under his chin. He seems happy about that. You see a orc come sprinting through the woods to where you guys are standing, seeing this like 20-foot tall bear creature just sprinting towards you guys, and he goes, oh god, are you okay? Oh fuck, he just got, I don't know what happened, he got away from me, I don't know how I lost him, but I did, and oh shit, are you alright? Is everybody alright?
Okay, we know him.
We're fine.
We brought him here.
He likes scritches.
And he, like, the bear stands up and like pushes the orc over with one of his hands, and then like gets up and starts walking through the trees, knocking a tree over along its way, and just continues into the brush. The orc, scrambling to his feet, goes fucking hell, and then tup runs off after him.
Wish you the best of luck.
So they seem they're trying to acclimate him to the space. It seems it's having mixed results.
He seems to be doing well.
Seems much happier.
You know, I wasn't expecting to see him again in that form. But yeah, at least he's getting along well.
Why be scared of who you are?
He's probably happy to not be hunted.
Maybe that is his real form.
Happy to be him.
Oh, and the human form was the...
He's a wereman.
He's wereman. You just called him a man. No.
No, it's a wereman. It's a dog that on the full moon turns into a dude.
But were means man. Wereman means man.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't always have to work. But I can just see that a wolf jumps up at a full moon, just like, oh, and then it's like some worthless naked dude like scrambling through the woods on all fours, like.
Turns the nest.
Stupid Were Flanders.
Stupid sexy Were Flanders.
Nothing at all. Nothing at all.
Somebody clip that, please.
All right.
Fucking hell.
Okay.
Alright, so you guys make your way along just as well to the exit of Autometh that you know to be in the arena. As you arrive, curiously, you find Benjamin waiting in the corridor for you. The corridor that's just below where the king stands in the arena itself. That leads to the false wall that is a portal that brings you to the surface. He's just standing there, politely, waiting by the wall, and as he notices you guys coming down, he goes, ah, yes, hello, good to see you again, quite, come along, and he sort of kicks out one leg, twists on his other foot, and then steps through the wall and vanishes.
We follow.
Was he just waiting here for us?
I'm gonna poke the wall
It
before I
appears
go
so.
through it.
Poking the wall, your hand passes through it. It appears to be illusory in nature.
And
Okay.
that's why we say for the arguing for on the roads, kids.
Alvin was already walking through while Biffles was poking the wall.
Biffles walks through the wall. Doesn't like it.
Walking through, you guys find yourself to the surface, and there's a little picture of old Benjamin Hyde there, for the folks at home. You walk through the wall, and this time, when it takes you out into one of the corridors in the tomb, it appears to be a different corridor this time. So wherever that portal is that shows up in the sort of false tomb that's near the surface, it moves around wherever it is. and he leads you out to the large gates that exist on the side of a big gray dead mountain, and opens the gates and ushers you guys outside, waves to you politely, and closes the gates as he heads back in.
Before he...
Mm-hmm.
Talrand does make note to make Benjamin aware of our travel plans.
Oh yeah, so you kind of describe, like, we're gonna head down this way, and we're gonna kind of do that, and then we're gonna head, as you describe it along, he's like, yes, mm-hmm. And then he's like, good, yes, that sounds like a solid plan. I wish you the best of luck. And he tips his hat.
We maybe, if
Talrand
things go
responds, I hope I return.
If things go south while at Slavers' camp, we'll probably be returning with the slaves.
Ah, yes, and that will be using the king's essence, am I correct?
Yes.
Quite good. Don't lose that, obviously. We wouldn't want you stranded out in the middle of enemy territory on the far side of the Empire with a bunch of slaves with you, would you?
Not at all.
No.
That would be very bad.
That would be terribly bad. So I wish to you all the best of luck.
Let's get this
Is
party
everything
on
still
already.
crumbling like it was before?
What?
Is everything still crumbling like it was before? This looks like the crumbly place.
Oh yes, coming to the surface, you see it looks similar to how you always remember it. Like it is a big, crumbly, dry wasteland.
Hmm.
Well, let's head out ever forth to our inevitable encounter with Brono Nubs.
Hmm.
Are you saying that in character or out of character?
Out of character.
All right. I thought it was in character for said. He just would have turned to you. Who the fuck is Bruno? No.
Oh wait, let's keep going.
All right, so heading out along the wastelands, you guys find yourselves, as per usual, making your way across the familiar wastes up to the north. Heading to a south and slightly easterly direction, you make your way across the sands, and as before, it takes you a few days. Who is it is keeping a lookout as you guys go along?
Who has the best perception out of all of us?
I think it might be Esteban, I'm not sure.
Got it.
I got a 4 on perception, but Talrand never stops watching regardless.
Of course.
Not out here.
I was gonna say I got a 4 on perception as well.
Okay. Yeah, you can all keep eyes out if you like.
Hmm.
Oh damn!
Ooh.
Let's see. I am better.
Oh gee, damn!
Good. Yeah. So
I'm a master
everybody's
of
keeping a
tens
solid
today.
eye. The same usual gray clouds cover the sky as you make your way along. It seems at all times quiet. As you make your way through, you follow the same protocols, I'm imagining. Like, you find places to sort of hide and sleep for the nights when the nights come. And then, the first, I'm going to say 2 or 3 days as you guys are traveling across the waste comes to a close. And it seems relatively uneventful. Not much happens. The gray goblins that were here were found by the A-team and returned in. You don't run into any of the scouts from the wasteland orcs because they're more to the south and west, whereas you guys are heading in an easterly direction.
We're out of their territory.
Yeah. And the Ogron that was here seems to have made its way into the kingdom just fine, so all seems well with that. Coming along, you find, as you are traveling through the desert, a wrecked caravan. Looking at it, it appears to be extremely old. There is sort of like a wooden wagon that has broken down and been rotted over the many years it seems to have been here, though any further decay seems to have been halted by the sort of unnatural wasteland that's here. In the back of it, you see what would have been a collection of swords and armor, and the long since picked clean skeletal remains of a horse at the front of the wagon.
Woof.
Can I look to see if any of the armor or swords or anything seems to be in workable condition?
Yeah, give me perception. 14. Looking through the wagon, like as you just touch the wood of the wagon, it crumbles. It is so old. And when you sort of like just peel the top off of one of the wooden crates almost effortlessly with how dry and light and brittle it is at this point, you find a collection of armor inside that, looking at it, I mean, shouldn't have dissolved like this. It's been rotted in a way. It's been rusted and dissolved and broken down almost entirely. So none of it's wearable, but it's like even old armor that sits out for a long time still maintains some kind of cohesion, but this is just like as you grab a piece and try to pick it up, it just breaks in your hands into brittle, sort of shitty pieces of metal.
Can I look over the car or any of like the items that remain to see if there's some sort of crest or identifying symbol as to who this caravan belonged to?
Yeah. Do me perception.
I'm going to keep an eye out
Another 10.
in the surrounding area.
Yeah, I'll let you hold on to your perceptions if you guys want for your initial, keep a watch rolls. Just as like a general, this is how much keeping a watch you guys have been doing while you've been traveling. But yeah, Quad, a lot of like the tabards or cloth that once covered this caravan, anything that was there has been just dissolved. It's just turned to dust. It's ripped and rotten away. But on one of the pieces of armor that you see Sneck sort of fumbling with as it breaks and cracks in his hands, you see a large emblem of the Empire. And each of the swords and each of the large pieces of plate mail, like the chest pieces, all carry the same mark.
Concerning. It crumbles into dust or shards, right?
Practically, yeah. Like it's so brittle and weak.
Would I be able to make an Arcana check to see if if I can sense that even like the shards and pieces, if any of the kind of corrupted energy is in the metal itself?
Yeah, go for it.
Base roll.
So a 10. Like, you sort of reach out with your senses to see if there's any kind of corruption. You don't feel anything. As a matter of fact, when you're feeling over this metal, it crumbles unnaturally in your hands. Like, metal does not get this brittle.
It's so brittle, it's crumbling just by looking at it.
Yeah, like it is. And it seemed like it was only holding its shape just before you disturbed it, that even as a kobold, even your meager disturbance that you give upon handling this armor causes it to crumble down into dust and pieces of garbage.
Takes out tries to corral a pile of dust into a bag.
Yeah. Add that into your inventory. You have a bag of crumbled armor dust from the wastes.
Ooh, wait! There was a list of stuff that shaman wanted us to get. Is any of that stuff here?
Oh,
You do still have that list.
we do still have the list, and he'll give us discounts for shit. That's why I was looking for mushrooms. Because
The
I wanted
X, stuff with X's next to them, stuff they have.
There's a list. It's Shaman's list.
I don't know that weird.
What do the X's on the list mean?
The X's are things that have already been located
Okay.
by the
So-
A-team.
Adder stomach.
Though more of those things would not be unwelcome.
Blood of a lesser vampire.
Mm-hmm.
We are gonna have to go back to vampires.
You use
using
Mage Hand. What do you use Mage Hand for?
Or do you actually say, wait,
trying
going
to pick up a piece of the armor with mage hand.
Ooh, you know what I'm gonna say? Roll me Arcana for that. Just to see like the dexterity that you're attempting with the Mage Hand. Dirty 20. Ooh. So like you very gingerly are able to handle one of the pieces of gear that sits there. What are you trying to do with it?
Try to put it into some kind of container so that we can get a intact piece back for study later.
I mean, going through your inventory, you might have like a jar or another container of some kind, but like even after you like uncork a jar or like take the lid off of a large mason jar, and you gingerly place the metal in it and then put the lid on, even jostling the jar ever so slightly causes the metal to break apart.
Damn.
Think maybe we should go.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Might be a good idea.
Nothing about this seems good.
No.
What was that, Esteban? Sorry, you seemed very distant. Whoops.
I said Tolerance takes one final look around the cart and loses track of the cart itself.
Shit.
Well, it's a cart. Like it's an old ruined cart. You're not sure why everybody else is so keen on it. So you're more interested in keeping an eye out for dangerous things.
Yeah, that being said, while they're picking over the card, I'm just going to say, just keeping an eye out on the horizon.
Yeah. Is there anything else you guys want to try to look for or glean from the ruined cart?
Yeah.
Can I make a history check to see if there's anything that would kind of tell any kind of past story aside from the one empire mark?
Yeah, go for it.
Yes, I'll make one too.
Nope. Also, nope.
It was a cart. Well, like,
guys.
yeah, the two of you looking it over can only surmise by just the tremendous amount of damage that it's taken, that it was a cart, that it belonged to the Empire, that it was shipping armaments, like weapons and armor, to or from somewhere, and
At some point.
whatever happened to it very suddenly.
I think we should go.
There is not much more we can get
There's
from
no
this.
human skeleton, right?
Let the A-team solve this.
I mean, with a natural 1 on perception, you don't find any additional remains around the cart now.
I'm gonna take a look just in case, because I haven't searched this thing yet.
Yeah.
Oh, nope, I'm
man.
back.
Well, there are no mushrooms, so really it doesn't hold a lot of interest for you. So.
Nothing shiny. God damn it.
Dang it.
No.
Come on, snack. Oh, wow.
God damn it. This
I
is
told you.
it's a spooky cart. You know, I'm gonna say.
Oh, I'm
fuck.
even worse at investigating.
Yeah, Jesus, you guys. History.
Finally, someone
Okay.
breaks a 10.
Yeah, I was like, fuck you guys.
Guys, I'm all charisma and dex.
What did you hide all your fucking?
I did it.
And that will be the only time you will get over a 10 with a stealth. So
He's automatically advantage. So
with a
not
history
the
check of 14, and I'm gonna let you ride a little easier with that one, Esteban. You can see by by what could have been the make of this cart that it was a cart used for transporting arms and armaments, of course, but it looks, by its design and by the way that the emblem is on the armor, this was from the Great War. Like, this wasn't recent at all. This was from centuries ago.
Explains the metal.
Millennia, even.
Interesting. I shared that with them.
Like,
With
the Great War did happen over 1,000 years back, so... But, yeah, like, this was from the Great War.
Hmm.
The fact that nothing really dissolves here, combined with its age, makes the metal breaking make a lot more sense.
I mean, from your limited experience watching metal sort of break down and whatnot, this... I mean, it doesn't seem natural.
I have no idea what the crumbled armor waste dust pile I have is going to do, but I'm, going to try it out on somebody that I don't like.
Yeah, no.
Can I scoop a small pile of this into a bag for the same purpose?
If you want, yeah, I imagine people were gonna, do research on it, not blow it in people's faces, but sure.
I'm a good
Hey, that's why I grabbed a piece.
That's what I call research.
Oh, I have a specific purpose in mind.
I'm gonna grab some too.
Sure.
For throwing at people.
Yeah, no, if
I
you
don't know
if,
what it could be used for,
if
but
you guys
it's
scoop it into a little pouch, then just make sure to mark it down as, dissolved armor from the monstrous wastes.
Okay.
Alright,
Putting
so,
him.
I got one jar of armor dust.
There you go.
Yep.
alright, well, while they're doing that, Caleb's just gonna turn back to, you guys about done?
we acquire stuff.
I got all the information I'm going to get out of this for now, so yes. Probably
Oh,
best we keep moving.
okay, now for the new question. Why are we picking through the bones of the dead?
The bones.
We're recycling.
Well, I would like to maybe get some more information on why the area around us is like such.
Well, no, I understand that, but
I think Mango Toad's like pocket sand.
Pocket sand.
what exactly can we learn from Rust?
This isn't regular rust. This screams something having done with magic.
Same thing we can get from anything we don't know. Potentially something, potentially nothing. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of want to see what it does to the insides of a human. I don't like. There's a list.
Pocket sand.
Sand.
Someone's
Yes,
gonna be like,
once again.
"Sir, are you
saying we
okay?
should go."
Are you wearing a wooden mask?"
I'm thinking more like walk in. Oh, hey, look, that's a barrel of beer. Pour a little bit in there. Pour some in there. Hey guys, flavors, party time. Drink up.
Oh,
And
yeah.
the
That's
dust
why.
drains all the life out of the person it touches.
Let's
Are
keep
we the
going.
baddies?
Guys, are we the baddies?
I am off
So-
label.
Are you guys gonna look for anything else, or are we gonna continue?
Dracula's ready to head off.
Yeah,
Oh,
we're
and
going.
time shift.
Okay.
And keep walking. There's no mushrooms.
Yeah, like there's no mushrooms here in this cart, so it's really kind of boring. So yeah, you guys head out and continue your way along the wastes. It's not long before you find yourselves at the edge of the forest. The great forest that divides the monstrous wastes from the rest of the Empire's territories.
Mm.
This is the part that Umanat controls?
This is indeed the part, the forest where you encountered Umalaut's corruption.
quick, pay on everything.
Quick pee on everything. For the duration, you sense a presence of magic within 30 feet of you. Yeah, so Drekiar, like, kind of moves forward, casting this spell, and Drekiar, as you reach out with your senses, using this spell to sort of bolster yourself, you do still get pings back from the woods that are a tremendous amount of magic, but it's Fey in origin.
Hmm.
None of the abyssal that I felt.
No, like, you could swear, you could swear just on the edge of your mind you could sense abyssal magic, but you're not even sure. You're not even sure if that's what you're sensing, or if maybe you're just looking for it, so you just think you're sensing it, and you're, like, psyching yourself out. It's hard to tell. But, yeah, like, you're reaching out, and nothing. It's all the magic that's coming back to you is coming back Fey.
Weird.
Well, I'm sensing Fey magic, which I believe is natural to these woods. I'm not really picking up any abyssal. That what I am picking up may just be myself looking for it. But I get the feeling Umlaut does not have control of this section of woods.
You're picking yourself up by... I didn't know that was a thing.
Drink this tea. Here. What's in it? Magic desiccation dust, poisonous mushrooms, and some berries for flavor.
I did a sneaky mushroom hunt.
With your sneaky fucking mushroom hunt, you sort of digging around, find yourself on. Let's have a look here. Let's roll that.
Now, Piffles, roll your stealth to actually sneaky hunt.
Okay. Where is my stealth? Oh god damn! How did I fuck that up? Jesus! I got a +5 with that, guys. Like,
so you.
Wow, this is weird seeing it on the other side.
You very obviously see Piffles rubbing her fucking hands together, sort of like trumbling about the outside of the woods, looking around. Nobody doesn't notice you. This is your...
Damn it! I just mushrooms.
As you're traipsing about looking for mushrooms.
I don't.
Yeah, Snek, you're more concerned with furrowing your brow and scowling at the trees for what appears to be, as the moments pass more and more, no reason whatsoever. So.
All right, just look at that. It's just Piff. What are you doing?
I create illusion of a bunch of mushrooms.
Looking for
God damn it.
mushrooms.
You cast an illusion, and springing into existence are several strangely colorful mushrooms suddenly poop out of the ground.
What the fuck? And I try to grab them, but they're illusions, so my hands are gonna go right through them, and I'm gonna realize it's an illusion. Yes.
Yep.
Drakiar.
So I'm gonna do this kitty style. I'm just gonna let it away.
Oh, and
I make the illusion move every time she tries to pounce on him.
And wait, you found nope, it wasn't one. No.
But
but every time she tries to move for a mushroom, I make them move so that we create a forward progress with Piff trying to get the illusion.
Grown-ass goblin, goddamn!
Using an illusory mushroom as a laser pointer to lead Piff through the woods.
All right,
phenomenal.
Before we do that, Drakiar.
Yes.
Because you are in no way Fey. Yes.
Correct.
Okay. I expend a level 1 spell slot.
Mm-hmm.
I know whether or not there's any Fey within 6 miles of us.
Yeah, link the spell for the chat.
Jesus.
Nice.
Evil awareness. Yeah, you can use your action to expend 1 ranger spell slot to focus your awareness on the region around you for 1 minute per level of the spell slot expended. You can sense whether the following types of creatures are present within a mile of you, or within up to 6 miles if you are in your favored terrain, which you are now.
Look, it's a fucking beast.
You're in the woods. You, like, extend your senses out into the trees. Oh, yeah. There is definitely Fae in the woods.
He just doesn't know where or how many.
No.
I don't know what you're doing, but I can't confirm to.
Yeah, it doesn't reveal the creature's location or number, but you do know that there's a lot. And I'm going to give you this one for free. Using this ability and sort of reaching out specifically for the Fae, you kind of get a sense that the woods, if anything, at least recently, have breathed a sigh of relief.
Yeah, Drakir, there is definitely Fae. You said you were uncertain, but definitely Fae. Also, the woods seem happier.
Looks like we lost Planthier.
Oh, Planthier might have accidentally pooped out.
No, wait, hold on. There you guys are. Just one
Okay,
second.
there he is.
What? All right, there we go.
All right.
What the heck happened there?
I don't know. The speakers in my headset just went dead.
Weird.
They
Might be
do
time for a new headset.
Yeah,
on occasion.
not by Turtle Beach again. I can tell you that much.
Gotta do it.
Rump.
Rumbas.
Rumbas.
So yeah, you guys find
It'll
yourselves
be 10 for 6 years.
now moving in through the large and thick woods of the forest.
I want to know, how long can I keep bleeding Piff on with the mushroom illusion?
Hey, Binks, I subscribed tier 1 for 2 months. Thank you so much.
Well, I'm gonna roll another perception check.
Okay.
Well, it'd be a wisdom save.
Would it be a wisdom save?
I
Yeah.
imagine so.
Well,
Intelligence investigation check. Against
intelligence
the spell
save.
save.
Is it? Sorry. What kind of save am I doing here? I'm confused.
If a creature uses its action to examine the sound or image, the creature can determine that it's an illusion with a successful intelligence investigation check against your spell save DC.
Yeah, so investigation.
Okay, that's worse than my. Yeah, that's. Yep.
It is a very strange mushroom that keeps hopping around through the woods.
I was gonna ask, with the 17 that I made earlier, can I spot some edible mushrooms?
Looking through the woods with the 17 that you got from earlier, yeah. You see some of the mushrooms on the ground. I mean, you find mushrooms. You're not necessarily sure what they do.
All right. Well, in that case, I'd say I'm just gonna pick up, say, 4 of them.
Do you pick them up with your hands?
Can I roll survival to try and mitigate this lunacy?
What I'm gonna
Potentially
do,
dangerous.
Can I get my words out?
Yeah, what's up?
I was just gonna stab him and pick him up with my rapier.
Fancy,
like,
bitch. All right, yeah.
Yeah, like a little shish pop. It's like it's at a safe distance, but I can still get it.
Yeah, no, like you use the tip of your rapier and just like
Why can't you pick up the mushrooms?
picking up the picking up the mushrooms, and then you have 4 differently colored mushrooms on the tip of your rapier.
The next person he stabs with the rapier is going to get the effects of the mushrooms.
Yeah, they're gonna have themselves a bad time, perhaps.
Okay.
Those shit yourself to death ones. They're gonna have a bad day.
All right, I'm just going to. Anyone have any sort of like spare jars or anything like that?
I might.
All right. Pip, when you turn around, you just see the mushrooms on the end of Caleb's sword.
How come you can pick them up? I don't understand. How does this work?
To be fair, my illusion only lasts a minute, so.
I
Okay.
can pick them up because these are real, and B, I use a sword.
Gotcha. So pick them up with pointy things.
Yeah, protect yourself.
It's less
This
fun.
is going to
It's
lose so
less
many
fun, but I
daggers.
will do this.
All right,
I have a rapier too.
Does anybody want to do a survival on the mushrooms to see if they can identify what kinds that they are? Esteban, you see that 3 of them are just common forest mushrooms. They're even edible, the 3 that are there. They don't really offer any nutritional value, but they're certainly just common mushrooms. There's the one, though, the last one, that he skewered, which is just on the tip, and that one is a poisonous mushroom. It is not shit yourself to death mushrooms, but it is a standard poisonous mushroom.
So
Okay.
not the bone rot either.
So
No, it is not
don't
the
slide
bone rot.
those 3 off, because then they'll be poisoned. The one on the end is poisonous. Those 3 are actually edible.
all right. Well, in that case, what I will do is just
Pluck them off.
Yeah,
pull,
just
pull them off
what-
sideways.
pull them sideways. Just start cutting down towards the base. Just take off the edible ones and just sort of hand them to Pip, and it's just
I'm gonna put it in the
container
pocket.
for this poisonous one.
I might have another. I think. Hang on, let me check my inventory. I think I have one more glass container.
Can Snack have the poisonous one?
What
You
is
give it to Snick.
this one?
What do you want this for?
I'm deeply concerned when the man of the cloth wants poisonous mushroom.
Well, Snack kind of just holds out the bag he's got with the metal dust from before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right,
just
well,
mix those together. That's cool.
yeah,
Put
just-
in pocket sand.
Snack's
We
making a thing.
are MacGyvering horrific concoctions to use on people.
yeah,
I call this the mush of 17 curses.
yeah.
You guys still think I intend to use this on a person?
and
This will render you turbo dead.
We're going to pour it down the mouth of a slaver.
all
You
right,
guys still seem to think I intend to use this on a person.
and
Are slavers really people?
all right. So
No,
Caleb,
I have some idea on who you plan to use it on.
all right. So Caleb just sort of puts the mushroom in the bag. Just close it just a little bit. As it closes, he just sort of draws the blade back. The mushroom is off the sword,
Into the bag.
and sheath the rapier.
Snack
Yeah,
just shakes the bag so the metal shards break up the mushroom a bit.
I mean,
It's gonna turn into mud.
you're going to have a poison paste inside this bag.
Wonderful. That will make it easier to put on daggers.
Let's keep moving.
Yeah. So you guys continue to make your way through the trees, and as you guys are going along, it actually gets like slowly over time. The trees start to space out, and light starts to come in a little bit more. It definitely looks a lot healthier as you're moving along. The woods, as you're traveling in them, almost seem familiar. I mean, these definitely aren't the trees from back home, but they look a lot like them.
Way less Fey infested.
Yeah, there's no Fae back in the home woods, obviously. But yeah, as you guys are going along, it's
Carved yet?
like there's more and more clearings between the trees, and the trees are a little more spaced out as you go along, and the sunlight comes through. And as you guys are walking along, it's actually quite a pleasant day.
I'm no longer getting that weird overhanging. This forest is wrong because it's Fey forest.
No, like you are no longer getting that like deep, foreboding terror that you were getting previously, where something was definitely wrong, like that feeling seems to have passed.
Cool.
The effects that happen when you have two different teams going on in the same world.
Yep. Seems like, at the very least, for now, a lot of the influence that once held over these woods seems to have abated. At least for a bit. And as you guys sort of traipse along and find your way through the woods, suddenly, seemingly without provocation whatsoever, you hear from the top of the trees laughter.
No. I fucking called it!
No!
What?
Looking up into the trees, you stay standing in the top of some branches, a halfling.
No!
Who looks about so.
Hmm.
More like this.
Doesn't
He's
look like a
standing
goblin.
on a very, very high branch, and he goes, "Welcome! Welcome, adventurers, to my corner of the woods. So nice to meet all of you, to see yet more of you seem to be frequenting my area in the trees, but I hope at the very least that this time will go a bit better than last." And he snaps his fingers, and from the trees around you emerge a gang of halfling thugs. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, magic missile.
Every one of them at promo!
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we will wrap up our game for this evening. Weapon proficiency, yes! Dust this bitch!
Can I at least get the... Can I at least... I was actually being serious about the magic missile.
Well, we'll pick it up at the beginning of our next session.
I do have the bad pipes.
This is true.
Can whip them out and use his own shit at them.
That's right.
We're about to burn down a forest.
The forest is healed. Burn it!
Just realized that if we ever try to go through, like a town's customs, they are going to have the weirdest fucking day. What's this? Bone rot poison. Excuse me, bone rot poison. Okay, what's this? Bag of horrific dust. We're not really sure. Okay, what's this? But that's to shit yourself to death poison.
What's this?
It comes with a really good trick.
That would be a grenade full of essence of rust moss, sir.
This
Good lord,
would
yeah,
be
the grenade you guys have.
What about this? Jars of napalm. Why?
And then the custom looked at this group of adventurers and said, "Why?
We're a group of adventurers, that's why."
You'll
We
find
A lot of exotic things we need to kill.
Because it's the one thing you can't replace."
Yep.
So yes. And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. Another intrepid episode of our B team to a close. And we have our Raggle full coming up, but only Calendros has put in 2 tickets today. We got WWE 2K20, we got Brutal Legend, and we got Soul Calibur 6 up for grabs today on our raffle. Brutal Legend's a game that I've played and found a tremendous amount of fun in because it is highly quotable and probably contains some of my favorite one-liners from video games ever.
I mean, it's the main character is voiced by freaking Jack Black.
Yeah, it was Jack Black wanted to make a video game, and he made Brutal Legend, and it's fucking great.
Decapitation!
Yeah, him screaming decapitation, him going like on about literally anything. It's such a good game. Highly recommend it. Soul Calibur 6, still a very good game. I think that the Soul Calibur series has been just tremendously well done. And I'm excited to... Boop, there we go. I'm excited to show that to you guys. Let's move that down like so y'all can see it. And actually, if we want to, like, bonk, move that over there.
Features Geralt from the Witcher series. What?
That's he has a very good custom character creator.
It does. I've seen a lot of people have a lot of fun with the custom character creator in 6, and yes, Kara Wrestling. Why? Because we're running out of games from that list. So I was like, I know there's a lot of wrestling fans in our group here, so come on down. If people want to throw $5 in for a Regalful, might walk away with a free game. Regalful!
I hear toots. What's happening?
Smell bad.
Sorry, I was just like kind of pushing my hands together. I didn't realize I was accidentally making noise.
It sounded like Tennessee.
Noodle sad.
Okay then.
Gibbs.
I'll give it another 4 minutes for the Regalful.
I mean, I was throwing $5 for a chance at Soul Calibur 6, but I won every last game yesterday. I don't need to be throwing in more
Do
tickets.
it, you lucky bastard. Get in here.
Plus, I already also have Brutal Legends, so...
Smell. Smell bad.
What are you doing?
I don't know.
God, Doc.
I'm bored and very tired. Actually, while we're waiting, I can show you guys quickly in 4 minutes something that I put together. The screen's gonna be kind of wonky because my D&D screen is sort of fucked up, so that I can properly show you all what's going on with my other stuff. I get my game of Bannerlord. I will show you some of the characters that I've made for you guys. And then we'll get back to the Regalful. And we got 3 more minutes left for people that want to get on this raffle. So far, we've only got 2 tickets for Calendros, and he already donated the fucking wrestling game, so he's not even going to be in on that.
Regalful!
He's basically got a 100% chance to walk away with 2 games. For $10.
For 5 things.
For 5 of your sweet and sultry things, you could just as easily walk in here and get a good chance at walking out with Brutal Legends Soul Calibur 6. The good games. God, I played this shit out of Soul Calibur when I was in high school. Fuck. Those were some good-ass games. Donk. Yeah, so we're gonna load our King's Quest.
I mean, if you ever wanted to make yourself... If you ever want to simulate yourself beating the living shit out of a Doc, or say Big Mike, Soul Calibur 6 is the game to do it in.
It really is. The character creator in that is nuts. I don't know if they have the same story mode that they had in the other Soul Calibur games. Because there was one that had like a big campaign story mode that I played.
I'll save you some time. Yes.
That is actually fantastic. That does interest the crap out of me.
It's limited to not just one character. It's more or less a case of, okay, you beat the main campaign now, and just wave your arm to the rest of the characters. What about these sub-stories?
What about these assholes? So yeah.
Although
I
will admit, I will admit, one character's campaign I was deeply disappointed because it was just this is just reading. Zaslamel, you could have fought. Why?
There's Esteban with his new face and his bear costume.
There's the Bane!
I also didn't know what to do with this other NPC, so I just made Eris as like a big Viking chick, because that's just who I am. And then there's Quad, tall as he can be, two-handed weapon fighting, and bows was his thing. So he's whoops, I forgot. I gotta put you in the archer squad. So you will primarily be firing with the archers from the back, and then you can engage in big 2-weapon swingies for when you get to it. Planthier, also supposed to be in the archer team. And it's the same thing for Planthier. He's got like the two-handed weapon and the bow. And we were getting everybody some of these like fur kilts to give them better armor. And we got Warden here. He's got some new gear. Got him some throwing axes to go along with the rest of his stuff. We got Recluse in here. She is the only person with a crossbow, because she's the only person that we have who has crossbow skills. So she's got a crossbow and scouting skills. So she is a part of, sweet Jesus, our scouting team. And our archers. And then Assorted Unicorns is also here. She is a healer and comes with a big old shield, throwing axes, regular axe. But yeah, she's our secondary sort of backup healer. And there's Lemon Boy as well, who's painted their face yellow like a lemon. Is also an archer and in the archery squad.
So he's throwing lemons at everybody.
I thought he was wearing a mask at first.
Nope. That's his face. And we got Rainer as well.
Yes, he does.
Rainer's got a tower shield and a polearm and one of these axes that I smithed and a whole new set of armor. Bam.
Nice.
And then we've got like a series of volunteers and soldiers that we're training, and some people that we're trying to get into our team, who are a bunch of like forest bandits and bushwhackers, because it turns out getting more archers on your team is really fucking hard if you're these people. So yeah. Also, the fucking English came in and started taking over territories in this space, so I'm very tempted to just, like, whoever it was who did own Pen Canuck before, I might just siege Pen Canuck and try to take it from them. We have 71 men, so that might be an uphill battle, but I almost want to save the game and then try it the next time that we're going to stream this, so that could be a good time.
They have about 400.
They have about 400 dudes. They have more than 4 times our number, yes.
I know they've been slowly improving the, like, campaign AI in terms of, like, who they declare war with and how difficult they are. Because at the very beginning of development, the Eastern Empire would just always take over the map.
Yeah. Like where are they? These guys. These dudes here, I think. The purple dudes?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, they just fucking wipe everyone out. They had to balance some stuff. Yeah.
Seriously, no one wants to donate towards the raffle.
Nobody want to get on the raffle? If you make me, I would love to either be a healer of some kind or a sword and board tank. Yeah.
Like, come on, people.
I've got
it's only
room
$5
for 2 more people in the team there. So that's what's up with that.
Yeah, no, right.
Why ain't I a horseman with a pole arm?
Well, because you weren't here when I made you. So I was like, what does Quad like to do? Quad plays a lot of armor. I could just give him bows. That's like guns. Like...
I'm very cheesy in Bannerlord. I go with horseback riding and pole arms.
Oh yeah.
And then I'll just do circles around like 20 looters or bandits. As they're just running after me, and I'm just going like, and I'm gonna come by and it's gonna run away from you. Come by and swish,
swish. You gotta put in that mod that lets you cut through people with 2-handed weapons. Otherwise, it's like, I've got this huge fucking 2-handed axe, and I swing it down at this guy, and he's like, I block it with my hand. It's like,
yeah.
Okay.
The shield stuff can get ridiculous when I'm like going full speed on a horse, running into a guy, and they block me. It's like, that doesn't make sense.
Like, that's not cool. But yeah, one of the mods I have is cut through everything, so that it's like, if you have a 2-handed weapon and you swing it, and it hits a person, it calculates like how fast you're swinging and whether or not it would just cleave through and hit the next person. And so it just
does it do anything for Does it do anything for pole arms when you're on the back of a horse?
It absolutely does that. So if you're riding with a pole arm and you go to stab down at one person and you're riding really quickly, it will just go through them into the next person behind them, and so on if there's more and more people there, instead of just bouncing off the front dude. Even though it like kills the guy that's in the front, it's like boink, and then just like, oh, my spear, and the one dude dies and you ride off. Like, it just, like, I think that they were like, oh, well, we don't want to make, you know, spears and pole arms and two-handed weapons too powerful. And I'm like, even with this mod, fighting on the ground, shields are so OP.
Yeah, that's the meta.
Yeah, like, shields are so fucking meta. Oh my Christ. Like, you just run up to dudes and I'm like, nope, I'm gonna block, and then I'm gonna hit you with the shield, and when you stagger backwards, I'm gonna stab you, and then I'm gonna get my shield back up again, because blocking is insanely fast in this.
Yeah, you don't need to even think about what direction you're blocking with a shield.
Yeah. Like, you really don't, because you just block anyways. Like, it's super rare that if you have the shield up that someone swings at you and they hit you. But yeah, like, Jesus, I had to go to a different town in order to get the crossbow for Recluse, and they had a tournament there, so I was like, sure, I'll jump in the tournament, why not? And the fucking ruler of the city, of that, that faction, came down into the tournament to fight me in the last round, sword and board. And he fucking ruined me. But yeah, because I was like, who the fuck was that guy? Holy shit, he was fast. And then I looked up his name, and I'm like, oh, he's the king. Fucking, god damn it. Yeah, he
better than what Shields did in the previous game.
What did Shields do in the previous Mountain Blade?
They were fucking tissue paper.
Tissue paper.
They existed, and they had a health bar. And if the health bar got low, they broke apart in your hands.
Oh, God.
So you could be in a combat, and you'd be... you'd hear a crunch noise and a crumbling noise and go, oh, yes, now I'm in the middle of a melee with only a short sword.
Hooray!
Hooray.
I feel like it should at least stagger them when you hit them with a heavy enough attack in the shield.
Yeah, I agree that if you, like, get enough speed or enough of a swing with a two-handed weapon into a shield, that it should stagger them, but what they want you to do is to use your, like, kick on them when they have their shield up, but even then, that doesn't do anything. You kick at somebody when they have their shield up, nothing happens. Like, it's silly.
Work in progress.
It is a work in progress. They are balancing out a lot of things still since the game's been released, so I'm happy enough for that. Like, the smithing stamina I thought was fucking stupid, but that's what mods are for, so just go about my business. I never find myself in a situation where I have so much equipment on me that I'm like, oh, what am I gonna... Oh, I'm gonna smith all this stuff and make, like, a ton of money. Like, no, that's not how that works.
Smithing is actually a waste of money.
It used to be that if you got your hands on a bunch of shitty farm implements, that you could smith them down into raw materials, and the raw materials would sell for way more. But then they adjusted that so that even when the raw materials are in high demand, they're still relatively worthless. So now smithing down weapons, like melting them down into iron and bars and stuff like that, and then selling it at a shop doesn't net you any additional money.
You gotta do them trade routes, and then...
Yeah, you basically...
work up to a workshop.
Not only, like, the trade routes is a thing that you have to do, but, like, there's so much shit that the game doesn't tell you. For example, there is, in the game's coding, a herd mechanic. So if you have pigs, sheep, cows, donkeys, or sumpter horses, they all count towards a herd, which will slow you down. The more of them you have, the slower you will go. Which pissed me off because I thought using a bunch of sumpter horses, I could increase my speed on the map. Turns out they were just slowing me down. If you have a horse, like a regular speed horse, that is, you have more or as many of them as you do troops, then you go insanely fast on the map. And sure, you can't carry quite as much as if you had donkeys and sumpter horses, but you can still carry, like, a lot. Yeah, and like, somebody, like, I was just watching a video on it the other day, and they were like, no one talks about this? There's actually no way, while you're playing the game, for the game to even fucking tell you that this is a thing. The only way they found this out was by digging it up from the code.
Oh, boy.
Like, that's where they found this information. I was like, fucking what?
Well, when I told you, I did not realize that the sumpter horses sabotaged you. I thought it was only like mules that you couldn't ride into battle sabotaged you.
Well, exactly. Like, that's what I was thinking too. And I was like, wait, what? And someone was like, yeah, all of these animals, if you have them in your thing, it creates a quote-unquote herd debuff. Which, even if you expand the, like, little mechanics that are in the bottom left of the screen and you mouse over your speed and it gives you a breakdown as to, like, what your pluses and minuses are for speed, the whole herd thing is not listed.
Why?
I don't know. It just doesn't tell you. It is something that they full-bore forgot to mention as they were making this game. It is a thing that in the calculations it does not display. But they're like, this does exist, so if you're just doing, like, big trade runs, fine. Have, like, a ton of donkeys and sumpter horses so that you can move huge amounts of product to, like, buy yourself from A to B. But if you have, like, 50 soldiers, and all of them are riding a pony or something like us, even a simple horse, you're still going to be in the thousands of carrying capacity. So a lot of the stuff that you can pick up, you'll be fine. You can carry loads. It doesn't matter. And then you'll be moving at like 6 or 7 points of speed on the map instead of like 4 or 3 or less. So now I was like, oh, I could just, like, I went into a town that was selling ponies for almost as much as if I sold them my sumpter horses. So I sold them all my sumpter horses for an equal amount of ponies, and I paid like 200 dinars in the end to completely upgrade. And then I was like flying across the map, picking off fucking like groups of bandits like it was nothing. It was fucking ridiculous. But I mean, that's why you do research, right? Like,
yep. At least my guy wasn't slowing you down because he had a good horse.
No, yeah, you're riding like a thoroughbred. You're fine. Like, you were like, I want to be a horse guy, so we gave you a horse guy who rides a horse. But Quad, if you want me to switch you to a horse dude what rides a horse, I can give your character to somebody else and then recustomize like a horse dude with a polearm.
I'm really not too picky about it.
Okay. Well, we'll see what's up. But yeah. And Mango got in on the raffle with $5. So let's get let's get to the regular.
Come on, people, last chance. You're helping Doc put food on his table.
Yeah, you know what? We got 2 minutes.
To be fair, payday for a lot of people is tomorrow.
That's true. And we're going to be having, tomorrow is going to be our 7 Days to Die Vault Extravaganza. I have built a custom vault for you guys to find and try to reinforce and survive in. There exists in the vault already some equipment to help you get started. So like a series of weapons, ammunition, food provisions, and tools, so that you guys can at least get started on what you're doing. There's also like some forges and workbenches and cement mixers and stuff like that down there, so that you can sort of leapfrog over the initial sort of scavenging gathering thing and get straight into making yourselves a bunch of cool stuff. And trying to defend the very cool vault that I've made for you that I hope you all enjoy. Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. I'm also tomorrow going to be, while you guys are doing that stuff, maintaining a status as sort of a DM for that. So I will be in spectator mode, more or less. Like, I'll be flying around invisible with my no clip and stuff on, so I won't be accidentally gathering zombies for you. And we'll be able to see them all come in, and I'll be able to like follow along with the camera, get some really cool cinematic shots for you guys. And hopefully it's a good time.
Quad, it sounds a lot like Doc wants to Zeus things.
Zeus? Why? What are you talking about?
It's from Arma 3. There's one of the game modes is one person is like a DM.
Oh
and
yeah.
they can just like place down units wherever they want on the map and basically make missions on the fly.
Oh, cool.
Oh, you mean like a ground commander or something like that?
And it's called a Zeus because one of their standard things to deal with unruly players is a lightning bolt.
It just reminds me, Slimesicle did a video a while back when he was playing with like just Minecraft with some friends, and one of the dudes on the team, like of the 4 people of them that were playing, 3 of them were just supposed to be making stuff, and the 4th guy was God, and every 5 minutes he would cause a natural disaster. So, yeah, and he was just sitting there. He would fly down on top of a tree, and they're like, "Oh shit, it's God, guys! What do you do? It's God!" And he's just
apple.
just like drops a golden apple on the ground. They're like, don't pick that up. And like Slapsicle picks up, is like, whatever, it's an apple. Just like eats it, and he's just apple. And then like flies away, and then broadcasts over the fucking Discord like the sound of his phone alarm going off, and it's all distorted, and they're like, no, and he's like opening huge fucking earthquakes all the way down to the lava, and like making it rain fire and tornadoes and shit. It was honestly one of the best videos I've ever seen Slimesicle make. Like, that was fucking awesome. He makes a huge volcano at the end, and they're just like, It's fucking great time. But yeah, I don't know a lot of console commands to like drop in all kinds of stuff for you guys, but I can sort of play this a little bit like Resident Evil Resistance, where like I'm gonna be pseudo managing like how many zombies are coming in, or how many zombies will show up, or how many resources you guys have to fight them off, kind of situation. And hopefully we'll make for some interesting stuff. If you guys die and it's super bad, then I might just spawn in like a bunch of base resources, throw them in a bin for you, and then you guys can just like try to construct some stuff and defend yourself against another wave of zombies, and we'll go from there. So yeah, and I'm gonna say, you know what, we've waited a good while, ladies and gentlemen, because Calandros was the one that donated WWE 2K20. Mango Toad, congratulations, you walk away with WWE 2K20.
Woo!
Because there's nobody else, so Mango, you've won. Congratulations. I'm strongly considering building fortifications. Good. Yay. Congratulations! And now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to roll ourselves a D3. The first 2 are going to be Calandros. If you roll a 3, it's Mango Toad. And for the game Brutal Legend, our winner is number 2. It's Calandros. Congratulations. You won yourself a copy of Brutal Legend. And last but not least, now we have
our prize for the evening.
Our prize for the evening, Soul Calibur 6, which is a very, very good game, ladies and gentlemen. Our winner this evening is number 1. It's Calandros. Congratulations! You walked away with a copy of Soul Calibur 6 and Brutal Legend. You've done it. Congratulations, Palanthier, if you want Brutal Legend. Palanthier, do you want Brutal Legend?
I already have it, actually.
Sweet. Calandros, congratulations. You've won this game. You may do with these codes as you wish. You can donate them to other people. You can throw them back in the pot. It's up to you. So we'll see what's up. Let's see if we can make ourselves a nice, tasty rago full for tomorrow. We'll see what's going on. See if I can't raise the stakes a little bit for folks at home. But until then, though...
Steak.
Apple. But until then, though, my bravest of citizens, I have been your kind and benevolent DM this evening, Toronto's greatest supervillain and evil genius, Dr. Terwat, the Starlayer 4.0. This is our B team going down the list. We've got Esteban.
Whoa!
Yeah, we got ourselves a Rainer.
Hello.
We got Kaldaka Gray.
Snack help king.
We got Palanthir.
Tell her smoke bread and dust the bitch.
Yep, and we got Quad.
We're gonna smash some gnome skulls in next time.
And we got Embisor.
I just wanted more mushrooms.
And we'll see you all tomorrow on our next live stream at 7 p.m. Eastern Time playing 7 Days to Die. End of line.